Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
I remember when the ATL wasn't banging, now they banging. Niggas throwing sets and them bullets start ringing, bitches banging. I remember when the ATL wasn't banging, now they banging. Niggas throwing sets and them bullets start ringing like bang, bang, oh, bang, bang, bitch, nigga, bang, 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 bang.
So for the generation that is born right after the crisis, we call them the prophet archetype, and that would be, for instance, boomers. But we've had many other examples. Indulgently raised in a very secure era, they come of age during these times of spiritual awakening. A lot of protests, a lot of social divisions, and they break through. They try to, they want to individualize the country. They want to free individuals from the sort of tyranny of the collective.
Give a fuck. Like Tupac, nigga, I don't give a fuck. Everybody wanna ride on it with no car. Make a lot of money, live life like the stars do. If you do what they do, then what kind of king are you? Don't let money change you for the bad. Do what God's do. Everybody say they want power, but they don't really want power. They let the money hold the fame, make them a dummy. Money never made me, bitch, I'm making the money. I keep a smile every day, whether rain or sunny. My main bitch a day, wanna she kept it 100. A young 5'6" addict who let it get blunted. Off in the bed, I'm the dog, that's right, I'm atomic. Bury the bone in the cat, get back to the money. All the jealousy and lying niggas throwing at each other over crumbs on the cool, it's hard to consider. Some of you niggas to be real, cause you're real bitch made. These days, and a whole be harder than niggas. But I don't give a fuck, never have, never will. Real niggas really scared to tell it like it is. So many heartbreaks, hella blood, sweat, and tears over chain. Now this is how I feel, tell them I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like Tupac, nigga, I don't give a fuck. Niggas hating on the low, I don't give a fuck. I'ma get more money, more, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like Too Short, nigga, I don't give a fuck. You can fuck my bitch, I don't give a fuck. I can get another one, I'm rich and I don't give a fuck. Tell them I don't give a fuck. Beat it with the microphone, I'm a flame spitter. Was a peacemaker, now a menace like the cane, nigga. Haters and you homo thugs, fucking up the game, nigga. We were never in the same class, you a lame, nigga. I don't got time to be dissing a nigga who ain't worth a penny, cause mentally I'm too above for dissing the fake. On top of that, I'm a player, the player hating that's never been in my blood, nigga. That's ammunition for hate. If I call up the cavalry, it'll be a fatality. One phone call, they'll be minutes away. Better make peace with your creator, cause on the cool, I don't think you wanna perish a cent of the day. Money on the mind, vision on the prize. Look into my eyes, you will see the devil is alive. Real warriors of God live eternally, and if you know the definition, baby, I will never die. Finally got the key of life. If you listen to my new shit, I got the blueprint to set the street afire. The majority of niggas in the game ain't fucking with the method of business that we apply. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like Tupac, nigga, I don't give a fuck. Niggas hating on the low, I don't give a fuck. I'ma get more money, more, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, about to have me some Duckton. Where the what the heck? What did he go? I had my mouth. What the
He's sleeping now. Because they want to get him good and strong. So a little before debate time, he gets a shot in the ass.
First things first, in this lame duck session.
My administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You're trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
I started having second thoughts almost the moment I sat down on the plane.
Lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Turn them off. Let's go. Ready? Turn.
We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
So I changed my return flight and flew back on the first available flight I could take.
I'm sick and tired of smart guys. I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced. I'm tired of being quiet. I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
With great power comes great responsibility.
You want to see a bird graveyard? You just go. Take a look. A bird graveyard? Go under a windmill someday. You'll see more birds than you've ever seen ever in your life.
Tonight, we find out who is this week's Trash Bag Human of the Week in tonight's Lame Duck. TFP presents the Lame Duck Session.
Hate me now, enemies gon' hate me now. Enemies gon' hate me now, enemies gon' hate me now. Hate me now, enemies. Busters got some mana, but I handle that, so hate me now. Got the Louis Slugger, you better cover when I hit a foul. You better be so quick to get it hip when the pistol show. All my niggas bit me creeping slow, and we on that blow. That I use, searching for an easy man. Demon in me wakes, now I shake and don't feel okay. Yeah, I'm terrified in my mind, so corrupted too. Feel so blizzo, hizzo, off that snizzo, but still keep it smooth. Evil prince, stay so blitz, busy down with Psycho Mike. Scheming, leaning all throughout the night, down in Metro Heights. Bitch, you getting sprayed from grenade when I pulled up here. Gangsta P, here with me, and we always going in. Shaking in my bed, hating leaves you where y'all dead. Don't you rest so tears up, call your blizz up when I'm on my man. I face so much crime, stay inside. I have on my mind. Please don't shoot your kids on, send you his on, get your miss on ride. Enemies so close to me, especially gon' hate me now. Motivated jealousy, but still I elevate somehow. Violent face all in my space, deep inside you hating me. Take that loaded Glock 19 and kill that kind with courtesy. Enemies so close to me, especially gon' hate me now. Motivated jealousy, but still I elevate somehow. Violent face all in my space, deep inside you. niggas lying in they songs, you know they capping. I'm on the block, I put in work, you niggas slacking. My nigga get jammed up and then we go and post bail. But if your nigga run up, we gon' send his ass to hell. Ain't have a ruler, kept a Ruger when I was in school. I'm hitting ops with this stick like I'm playing pool. Handy manny in this bitch, we got all the tools. You hate me now, damn nigga, I thought we was cool.
Red alert. All hands stand to battle stations.
Warning. Warning. Nigga babble detected. System overload. Warning. Warning. Nigga babble detected. System overload.
Bless. Leif. Cleanse. Cat in the building with the tape fist tight. Ricardo on the mic, yeah, he's spitting that fight. Mike is right with the vision so clear. Political prophet dropping truth in your ear. Progressive moves, but we keeping it raw. Individual minds breaking every damn law. Social conservatism got the crowd in a trance. Tape fist politics, we advance in the stance. Put your tape fist in the air, let it rise. Feel the power of the truth in your eyes. From the left to the right, we unite. Tape fist politics gonna shine so bright. MD20 in the cut with the plan. Building up the movement with a taped up hand. Progressive dreams in a conservative frame. Individual voices calling out every name. Progressive moves, but we keeping it raw. Individual minds breaking every damn law. Social conservatism got the crowd in a trance. Tape fist politics, we advance in the stance. Put your tape fist in the air, let it rise. Feel the power of the truth in your eyes. From the left to the right, we unite. Tape fist politics gonna shine so bright.
New golden age. New golden age. A new golden age. A new golden age.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
The following announcement has been paid for by Tape Fist Politics.
Peace, peace, peace. What's going on? What's happening? Back again, TFP, Tape Fist Politics. Late but still great, I guess, is Venkat. But let me say this real quick before we start.
How am I late? How am I late?
Like I said, man, you just like a nigga. As soon as the sign get flipped and say we open for business, here you come walking through the damn door. Let me say this real quick. See, and this goes back to saying that you got TDS. You spend all day long with a barrage of posts on the group chat.
That's right.
Rating our president, Donald Trump.
Yes.
But when it's go time, I don't hear from you like at all. And let me know, hey, kiss my ass, or I ain't gonna be able to make it tonight. None of that.
Oh, because I've been hustling and bustling. It's true. I've been hustling and bustling, man.
No, I'm just playing with. Hey, shout out, Tape Fist Politics. We back, man. What is this? Episode 11. Shout out to my co-host Venkat and Ricardo. What's up?
What's going on?
Hey, ain't nothing but a chicken wing, man. So, this was a highly anticipated show. We've been planning on doing this show practically for months now. Skynet, living in the age of AI. I got two videos we're gonna focus on. Basically breaking down some of our main gripes or main concerns with the issue at hand. But first and foremost, I want to get a floor to Ricardo. I want him to give his take on the video, the little teaser tidbit that me and Venkat did last week on the show, and give us your thoughts on that and what you feel about the video. I think it was a well done video. First and foremost, we talked about that. Me and Venkat did last week. it was well orchestrated. I like the way it was done. It was pronounced, you know. But I'm gonna let, since you weren't there, I'm gonna let you give your thoughts before we kick off the show.
All right, so it's my time to go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man. I remember watching the video, watching that video with the AI, whatever that thing was. Like it was speaking like a voice activated female, but really and truly was artificial intelligence. Having Bernie being probably the most socialist of all the socialists that you could think of in the Democratic Party, have a full on conversation regarding how the future will be with AI was just a tipping point that should have gotten everybody's attention span alerted. Not only was he having a full on conversation, AI was literally telling them why things are the way they are, how they're going to be coming into fruition, why it is. And then the kicker of all kicker is that it was money. That everything that is evolving regarding AI and how it's going to affect how this country progresses is because of money. If that didn't concern everyone in that whole take, that should literally be like the top of your full frontal lobes attention span right now, because that blew my mind. That literally computer, if not that the soul of it, is literally telling you this is where we're heading right now, but it's still money that's the main the main precursor to everything. So I wanted to jump off with the fact that Bernie was like asking, what was it? Did it actually tell the subconscious of the AI? Did it say what its name was? Because I can't remember in the video if it did say what its name
Well,
was.
the AI model is named Claude. I use Claude sometimes. It's funny that the name was Claude, but it was a female voice.
Exactly. That was weird.
You can choose the voice. You can choose the voice model. That's something that you can choose in it. But
Got you.
they just chose. See, but again, marketing is a motherfucker. You wanted something palatable, easy on the ear, so they chose the female voice.
And something that would be relatable in a sense that could be like a little bit less threatening in a sense. It would have been a female voice. Because Lord knows if that was like a Signet voice or something like a Terminator voice, I think that would have terrified people more. But I digress. That was I think the closest I've seen to an interaction like that, like how she was talking, and notice how she was fluid or whatever it was, because you can't say it was a he or she, because she's not. It's not. Can you say AI is self-conscious? I don't even know if you can say that.
You could probably say that now, but is that going to be the truth 2-3
Right.
years on down the line? Well, we don't know. We don't know.
That should be like, that's my main cause for concern is does it have self-consciousness? Because something that's AI doesn't have feelings, and it shouldn't. But then again, now we don't even know that, because there's a lot of stuff being pumped into it in terms of its algorithm, in terms of how it thinks, in terms of how it's feeling, in terms of what it knows. We don't know what is the genetic, like it does it have genetic, I don't even know. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes that we don't even know about, but I digress. One of the closest things I've seen close to how that interaction went with Bernie was watching Watson. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a computer that they placed on Jeopardy years ago called Watson. It was from IBM. Watson was on Jeopardy for the sake of playing like an actual player on Jeopardy to see how smart it would be against like the smartest person to ever be on Jeopardy or whatever it was. And I think Watson ended up winning just by, I guess, like a small, like a point or something like that. But the whole point of why, and that was the first time AI was ever introduced on live TV, was the fact that ABM was saying, hey, the biggest computer, like the biggest thing we've ever made was a computer box, and it was this huge. It was the size of a room. Watson is literally what that computer is now. And we've literally been working on this for years. And this is where we're progressing to. But we just want to give you a teaser of what it was. At the time, I didn't even know what AI was, because I was like, the closest we saw the AI again was like movies with Steven Spielberg and all of that. But Watson opened my eyes to seeing, wait a minute. So a computer can talk to a human being. A computer can actually do things that humans can do, and it can actually think it's smarter than you and still like answer. Like all of that blew my mind. So when I saw this, I was like, wait a minute, now really. And that was what, 7 years ago, I believe, maybe 5-7 years ago. Now we're here. When Bernie asks or I don't even know if I could say if it's a male or female again. It's a it. What this is, and like in the self consciousness of blah blah blah, and there's a lot of social issues in this world, and why is it that this thing literally was like answering as if it was like a professor. Did you guys get that feeling from that whole interaction? Like it was like, hey, this is why we're doing this, and Godfrey flow is so and so, and I was like, wait a minute. So this whole interaction is like, what is this supposed to mean? Like in the grand scheme of things, what is it that the tech billionaires or all them people's trying to like emulate here? Because if you could get a computer to do all of that, like say for instance, be a teacher or be a cook or be whatever you want it to be, where does that leave us, the actual mainframe, the actual people that do the day-to-day jobs? Doesn't that concern everybody else in the back, the back of the line? That was where I was like, I think that's where Bernie was trying to like get the kick out of like asking it, like, so how do you feel about this, or like how do we do this and all of that. That to me was like, okay, well, that I mean, you besides all of the whole the pageantry and all of that, like it's just whatever. But besides all of that, the whole importance of why he did all of that was to showcase literally down the line going forward, there might not be that many jobs or purpose for certain segments of the population anymore. Like if you're a barista at Starbucks, how does that help you knowing that computer can now make your actual beverage, your hot coffee or whatnot? Or if I go on a cruise ship, I don't really need that much people to make food or all of that anymore. I literally could have a computer do all of that. Not a computer, but an actual physical robot do all of that for me now. So where does that leave the people that usually are in the front lines, like the people that usually do all that stuff that what would we call those jobs? Damn it, man! I had all this in my head. What do you call those people that usually do like coming out of college or high school and all that? Where do we usually put those people in
Entry
category?
level.
Entry level. What happened to the entry level job seekers now going forward? Now that to me was a concern watching this video, because literally that's what they're telling us. Entry level jobs are going to be obsolete going forward. There's no need for anybody to be doing call centers anymore when a robot can literally be AI and call you and speak to you free flowingly, like how you see in the video, without no interruption, no buffering, none of that. You can't even tell the difference between me speaking to you now compared to an AI because they perfected so much. What would be the purpose of having entry level jobs going forward? How does that affect people coming out of masses, like how we'd have the high schoolers going to the grocery stores or doing the Foot Locker jobs, if they even have those anymore, because the malls are shutting down left, right, and center? Where do you put these people that are entry level job seekers going forward? Is there a place for them anymore? Because if entry level jobs are being filled up in terms of the gaps by robots, by AI, by augmentation, by all of that, what is the purpose of having certain people work for the wage that they're seeking? Because it's all, again, cheap labor is where it's at, right? And we've literally forced people to go abroad because the cheapest labor is usually elsewhere. Where's the purpose of people building or creating shoes or all of that? Where does that stand now for those people now? That was a concern to me in the video, because literally they're saying this or saying the quiet part out loud. How do you guys feel about that? Watching that part of the video where they're like, in terms of the explanation of what she gave. Again, I can't believe I'm saying it's a she. What it gave was like, hey, this is what's going to be happening, and based on what we see in the trajectory and this and that and blah blah blah. Imagine now that China is leaps and bounds ahead, or in Asia they're leaps ahead. How do you guys feel about that here in North America, particularly you, Venkat? What is the purpose? Because you mentioned something where I think you said it was is it Shan? What was that Asian guy that was running for presidency said that he's willing to pay $1,000 or something along that lines just
Yep.
to cover certain people of the population. It's one thing,
That's what we added.
yeah, but think about this though, Venkat. If he's willing to say, for instance, he did become president one of that, and he put all that into fruition, who is, or how do I position this in such a way that it comes off where I'm trying to articulate my point? who is in control? Because if you're willing to pay people or the population, a certain segmentation of the population to not work and still get funnels of funds, again, MD will say we're in a capitalistic, society and money is important and all of that. But who is in control here? Because that's my concern here going forward. Who is in control? Yes, you could pay people to sit at home and not do nothing. If that's what he was, Yang. I think his name was Yang, right? I could be wrong. Yang was saying that he could pay or he could get these companies to pay the segment of the population to not work and blah blah blah. But what control do they have with you not working anymore? I think that's what I was trying to get from what he was saying from when he was doing that whole, his proposition going forward with that. Like, what was your take on that, Venkat? Because based on what I'm seeing with the entry level jobs of what that thing said, I don't think there's a purpose for entry level going forward if an AI, a computer, a robot, or anything that is augmented can do it literally without it being expensive. What's your take on that? Because that's one of the things that I wanted to bring to y'all attention. But I need to hear from Venkat and from you, MD, from the capitalistic point of view of that, in terms of what it was stated.
Well, real quick, because before Venkat answer that question, I want to keep on charge of what the actual topic was in the conversation. They were talking about privacy.
Okay.
And what was it sustainable, and did it garner regulations as a stopgap between?
And we all know the answer to that, though.
Well, do we?
We all, but I mean, come on, MD, you know the answer to that one.
Because I don't have $1 billion and I'm not pushing AI. I'm a consumer, so I mean, I could say I know the answer, but what does that say? So in the essence of what was being talked about, I'm looking at it from the perspective of almost a sense of being omnipotent. Well, not that ain't the right word. Omniscient, right? In the terms of having a network that's basically all-knowing versus an ethical standard of what's right and what's wrong from a societal sense, right? AI in and of itself is a great thing to me. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like it could change the world. But you asked a poignant question though. Who controls what? Like who holds the power? Me, I look at it from the standpoint of if the AI is the one being fed, the AI controls. That's why I named this show aptly Skynet. You know what I'm saying? Because if we and we're gonna talk about it throughout the duration of the show, we have a system now that's constantly feeding the machine, like quite literally. You know what I'm saying? So if you look at it just, and I don't want to get like metaphysical or spooky dooky and no shit like that. But what I'm saying is we have a thing now. Like you said, you can't call it a he or she. I mean, that's subjective in and of itself. But we have this thing now that's constantly being fed to the point where it's changing the very aspect of our lives. But go ahead, Venkat.
I don't know. Couple things so when we pay the citizens in the United States, Ricardo is saying stay home and do nothing. I look at it differently. I look at it as you pay the citizens of the United States because the economy has to go. And if people have no money at all, which these AI technology that we have coming and that will be in the future is going to completely strip away. You see, people are thinking very small, and they're thinking in stereotypical and really selfish ways. Everybody believes, AI coming is going to hit like the lady ordering a hamburger and you got your little screen and you touch. I think that's great. It eliminates user error and you can get precisely what you need. I'm not worried about that. And then like in the back, they're making the food and all that stuff. I'm almost not even mad at that either. But when they get it at those lower levels, it doesn't stop. It keeps going and going because physical work, that's hard. Even though we as a society or this country in general like to underpay hard work, which is ridiculous. Because if it was easy, you know, I mean, why are we reducing the amount of money that a person makes doing undesirable hard labor? Nobody wants to do that. So just the fact that nobody wants to do it, but it needs to be done, that should have a certain price. But we don't want to do that. So if they take away those jobs with machines, you think that the next level up and the next level up from there, which are not very, I mean, let's be real, those aren't as hard. You may say, oh, it takes more skill or education, but computers have already proven that thinking and processing, no human being can outdo a machine to do that. So that's going to be the natural progression. So now whoever owns the machines owns the money and how the money is distributed. So now you have politicians and policies and government and all that stuff. We gotta, because I always say government has to set the rules that society plays under. So we have a lot of old ass geezers in government right now. They don't understand nothing. Every time you see these CEOs from Facebook and Google go on the Hill and they start talking, these politicians look goofy in the face. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. But they got to get caught up to speed. So we need people that understands this stuff, and we got to get ahead of what it means. You see, they had a strike with the actors, and everybody that was not an actor said, that's not my problem. I don't care. Because of AI and all these other issues. But every issue eventually will get to you. Just because it's not in your field, just because it's not in your industry at that moment, doesn't mean you're not going to feel it. So that's kind of sad that people don't understand that. I mean, we've been through this before. You give up an inch and you lost a foot, literally. So all I'm saying is that it doesn't stay at the low rate that you think. It's not Chuck E. Cheese and McDonald's workers that are getting hurt. It's gonna eventually be the people above that and above that and above that, and even the higher bosses will get a piece of it. So we have to have legislation, and we have to map out exactly what it means. What are the guardrails? What are the walls that we're putting around certain lines that they can't cross? And we have to define that, and we have to understand what it is, because the rules are just changing by the minute, and nobody seems to care until it's too late when it affects them. And that's really some sucker stuff right there. But there's a deeper conversation here. It's a bigger issue, and we're looking at it from a very small perspective and not seeing the biggest danger. So when you give people in this society money, they go out in the economy and they spend it. And the people that are selling the goods and services using the AIs and machines, they stand to make a lot of money from it. So how are the money getting distributed so people can go out in the economy and spend it? And who controls how much who gets? Do certain groups, certain skin colors, certain ethnic groups, certain heights, certain how much gets to where and how many of it goes, we don't know. But this is how we should be thinking about it. It's way bigger than what we're trying to look at it. And we got to stop with this. Oh, well, that's not my problem. That's not my fault. It will come. Your industry will eventually be touched. There's no way in hell. Well, let's get rid of all these jobs except for that job that nigga got. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. Everybody is potential. Everybody is at risk of getting negatively affected by this. Now, the other thing too, Elon Musk and other people in the tech industry, they're saying, hey, we're on board with giving out like some sort of a payout or wage because of the AI movement right now taking away jobs. But now we know traditionally Elon Musk and these others, they're not for the working class. They're not for workers. So is there a hidden agenda here, or is there something more nefarious behind those words? AOC and other progressives, their spider senses are going off. Why is he pushing this? Why are these tech guys pushing it? Go ahead.
Hold up, man, Cat. So I'm trying to figure out what's the difference between Andrew Yang saying it and Elon Musk saying it.
It's a huge difference. There's a huge difference because, okay, well, saying it is one proposal, but then the actual policy or how it will be executed is two different things. So when progressives say, hey, yeah, we should have less waste in government, we should have, that type of policy going, and then Elon Musk got his hands on that. And we saw what happened when he got his hands on that. It was a crap show, right? So a guy like Elon Musk, he already has a history here. He has no interest in the working class. He's all about self-preservation and his own self-interest. So how did he become so jolly and want to spread joy around the world all of a sudden?
Well, using your own argument, using your own argument, you just said that the reason that UBI can be a strong consideration is based on the fact that the economy still needs to move. Elon Musk pretty much said the same thing. Now I would make an argument. Have you ever seen Elysium? You remember that movie?
Say that again.
Do you remember the movie Elysium? You remember that movie?
Oh yeah.
Was that the movie where they were picking and choosing who could go up and down with
right. Yeah.
In space. Yeah.
So I look at UBI and I'm not saying that's not an argument in it. I look at UBI as slot feet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we'll be the ones still moving the economy, but at what cost? It ain't gonna be no upward mobility in the shit. That's for damn sure.
Exactly, because there's they have the economy is set on purpose to have poverty in it, even though there is no need for it, and there's the money is there so that there wouldn't be poverty. But the way it's set up, it is set for poverty because what does poverty bring? Desperation. What does desperation bring? The need or the want to do almost anything to get through your day. And if you have a bunch of well-paid people that have money built up in their bank, they don't have to take certain words. They don't have to take certain conditions. They don't have to take certain circumstances because they can just say, oh, forget this. I don't need to work. I'll just go somewhere else, or I just don't work at all because I got all this money saved up from all these years of getting good pay. But when you have all these years of not getting good pay, you live in check to check and you are at a detriment, and now you have to play ball under whatever rules they want to give you. This economy is rigged in the sense that the poverty is a major part of what drives this United States economy. It doesn't work outside of it anyway. That's how capitalism is predicated.
That's how crony capitalism tries. I agree with that.
There you go making excuses, MD.
I don't make no excuses. I'm just sensible in what I believe in. But y'all got anything else on this, and we're gonna move right along.
No, other than the privacy part, which I'm not sure if we're gonna deep dive more into that going forward. But
nah, that was it because that was the whole
The
focal
whole
point
premise.
of that video. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wanted to point out in terms of the privacy to bring it all full circle with what Venkat's saying. How does that differentiate in terms of how Elon was saying that he has the right to discriminate against whoever he wants to, based on the fact, because then you have to add that into the AI centricity of all of this. If you're gonna then say, oh, well, then I have the right to then say black people should not be such and such going forward. That then makes me concerned, because then I'm like, if I'm applying for a job and I put I'm African American or black or whatever you want to put on that thing of the because I never answer that ethnicity crap. It's none of your business, none of your concern. So I never usually answer it. I just put no, whatever the thing is there, because
So wouldn't that make you automatically? Oh, that's a nigga.
no, not
If you
necessarily.
didn't answer it, they
Because they don't,
automatically say.
but remember, but my name could come off as Hispanic because again I have a Ricardo, so they don't know. So when
Oh
usually
yeah,
when they
yeah,
see me, they're like, "Oh, but you're black." Yes, baby. I mean, don't we have black people who are Hispanic? So it throws them off every time because I never answer it. But that's my
yeah,
concern is that when you go forward for like certain things, well, who's to say when Elon goes, okay, well, when it comes to this, I don't have to pick a nigga. I don't have to pick somebody who sounds black. I have the right to discriminate. Do you
yeah,
really? Because there's no guardrails put up to the, and that's my concern with this whole AI going forward. Where's the
yes,
legislation to have kept pace with how fast this is moving? Because no one, these old, like Vanka said, these old farts that are sitting there don't really know that much. They're still using flip phones for all we know, for most of the most part. And they haven't caught up to the fact that this technology is progressing a day by, like if you look in China and India right now, they're leaps and bounds ahead. So if we're trying to catch up now with this, and then we're factoring privacy and factoring all this stuff, which by the way, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but Google literally last week signed something with the Pentagon, which now allows them to go in the back end of Google when it comes to AI and feed or like literally get every information they can in regards to what you search in terms of your Google accounts. So that should be, and then Google has no rights or say whatsoever to stop the government from going in and either weeding out, taking out whatever they get from it. And there's no guardrails there. My concern with all that and privacy, because MDC is not going to touch about this going forward, but is that literally this, the control. Who is in control? Who is policing here? Nobody knows. Is it the tech
Who's
billionaires?
policing China though, Ricardo?
Yeah,
You
but
mentioned China, so who's policing
why are
them?
we bringing up China?
because
No, Ricardo said that.
no, I brought up China because I'm using them as an example. They are leaps and bounds ahead in terms of how the technology is being used. Every other week, if you guys are not paying attention, they have an AI that's 10 times better than GPT. They have something that's like, leaps and bounds ahead. Their main potential mainframe here is to be leaps and bounds ahead of the US at all costs, so that they could be at one step ahead.
Right. You just said the magic words though, Ricardo, at all costs.
At all costs, the money.
Don't you know in China they got something called a social credit score? You know that, right?
Oh yeah, I've heard about it. I've seen a little bit of it.
So they use AI in social credit score. So you just said, now I'm going off your logic. You just said China is leaps and bounds ahead. And I ain't gonna say it's that far off, but DeepSeek and a lot of them AI units, they pretty good. But at what cost? they literally surveyed they citizens, like even I seen a video where they were talking about the social credit score, where they got like cameras and shit. If you jaywalk, that go against your social credit score because they watch it. So are you willing to go that far? That goes back to the privacy issue to the original video. Because that ain't what Bernie talking about. Bernie want to put stop gaps and guardrails on shit like that.
Yeah.
So just posing the question.
That's crazy.
Yep, and slowly but surely we're again. Who is the police in here? Like, where's the we should have caught up to this by now in terms of legislation. We're nowhere close to that. Nowhere.
Well, we can't even police a fat 89 79-year-old white man, mediocre white man that's doing insider trade as we speak right now. He's doing insider trading right now. We can't even deal with that problem.
Yeah, but yet in Georgia we have AI dogs policing Atlanta for no goddamn reason. So
Hell, I don't blame them on that. It's crazy as hell
so
downtown.
with these YNs all over the place, I mean,
Yeah.
this is what y'all get when y'all start being unruly and they start pulling out these AI artificial dogs and augmented crap that's like moving about like they're freaking signets. I don't know how we going because again, can you shoot the damn things with a gun and it doesn't affect them? I don't even know. Like, what are
Oh
we
my
doing
God.
here?
Like
What are we doing?
we're really in Terminator times.
Yes, we
in
are.
the video that I was watching about China, what's them cars? They got the electric cars over there, BYD or some shit like
Yes,
that.
yes, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
They say those cars are the upper echelon when it comes to EV technology, right?
And Tesla's nowhere close to it.
Yeah,
Not
that's what they say.
not even close.
Inside the car, they got the company, which is of course is state owned. The company got cameras inside the car.
Damn.
And it got the eye track technology. You
Damn.
look down on your phone, you fucking around doing whatever, it go against your social credit score.
Damn.
They showed one video, the guy, they was in the club, right? And the guy was
man.
fondling, gyrating all over the woman.
Damn.
The camera got him. Social credit score. They
There goes my
said
perverted ass.
when your social credit score gets so low, they take away your driver license. If it's something lewd and lascivious, you can't get married. Which is I can because they got the whole one baby rule and shit over there. So
I don't know if that's still even in play here, but okay.
they want to stop people from procreating all together. So you can't get married. All type of crazy shit, and that advances their large language model when it comes to AI. So
But how does that help them if they're trying to do the sex robots and all that crap that they're trying to put into fruition as well?
I don't think that's in China. That's more of a Japanese thing.
I know, but still, you can't put that past because eventually, if you're stopping people from procreating and having sex, they're gonna have sex some other way. So I mean, at some point in time, you're still gonna fuel some other market somewhere else in terms of like that. You know what I'm saying?
The gerbil market, or the sheep market.
So I mean, yeah, but that should be a little bit, worrisome in terms of if you're coming up with a social, what you call it, like how China has it. If you're not able to do certain, and I get it, there's certain things that you could put into place, but if you're not able to be in the privacy of, like, if I'm in the car and I decide to have sex in the car with whosoever I choose to have sex with in the car, you going social grade me to then say that was depravity and blah 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 and obscene.
But is the car moving?
But that's the other thing. How do we go by the technicality here? Is the car if the car is in place and it's not moving, and I decide to be humping and it's going up and down, you're gonna then say you gonna give me a social score of like 0 because you were humping in the car, and as a human being, I'm entitled to do that. But then it's obscene, and I shouldn't be doing that in God knows whatever fetish I have, and I can't do that in public or whatnot. You're gonna strike me down for that. So therefore, I will never be able to marry. I will never be able to do such and such. I will be blacklisted. I'll be doing such and such, blah blah blah. That to me is a bridge too far, if you get my drift. But then again, we think this way because we have the freedom and liberties to do that for now.
There you go.
For now.
So, all right, we gonna leave that portion right there because we got a lot to cover tonight. We're gonna move right along. Before we get into the leading story, I got to talk about this first. I would be remiss not to do it. So let me bring this up real quick. And all this just dropped, of course, this morning.
Supreme Court?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, that's crazy.
This is an article from Politico. Let me pull it up on my screen. Oh, hell.
Not them getting MD tonight.
Can you see my screen? Because I can't see it.
AI got MD.
We see I see your font moving, but we don't see nothing on the screen. It got bigger.
It says sharing. Oh, hell.
Try it again. Try it again.
There we go with the crazy shit. All right, let me.
Yeah, you got it. You got it, MD.
Now it's up. Yep.
All right, so this is from Politico. This just came down this morning. Supreme Court limits Voting Rights Act in a 6-3 ruling, which is, straight down the line by partisan. The justices narrow how a key provision of the Voting Rights Act can be enforced. Now, again, time and time again, I tell y'all why I am the political prophet amongst men. What you about to say, Ricardo?
No, I was gonna say, to the average person that doesn't know what all this means, can you dumb this down so they could understand what this precedent sets going
Well,
forward?
I know I can't dumb it down because I've been saying this for years now. It goes along the line of the same shit I've been saying. So, just reading the top line here, the Supreme Court significantly narrowed a key provision of the Voting Rights Act in the 6-3 ruling Wednesday, further eroding the impact of the landmark civil rights era law. For decades now, talking about Section 2, and we've discussed this here before on TSP. Section 2, a provision that broadly outlawed discrimination in voting on the basis of race. Matter of fact, we just talked about this last week. Me and you did, Venkat. Talking about the same case in Alabama, which reference here in the I'm the political prophet amongst men. It is what it is, folks. Usually when I say something, just believe it's coming down. It's coming down, and it's gonna come down in the way that I see through my rhetoric. But it says has been interpreted to allow. Now check this out. And sometimes demand the use of race conscious. Did we not talk last week, Venkat? That I was saying that historically, redistricting and gerrymandering was historically a race-based issue. I said that.
And you've said that numerous times. You've said that even before then too.
Now check this out. It says race conscious data in redistricting. So basically what happened was, if nobody know, if I could try to put it in layman's terms like Ricardo said, in Louisiana as well as in Alabama, a case that we've referenced here on TLP, where they were trying to do redistricting, and a civil rights group came and challenged it. It went before the Alabama Supreme Court. And, surprisingly enough, being in Alabama, the Supreme Court ruled that the certain lines that are being mapped by the Alabama legislatures was unconstitutional via it being race-based, allowing certain districts to be drawn under the basis of race and inclusivity and blase, all of that, adding to a large majority black district, which of course going to go Democrat. Another group countered that and took it all the way to the Supreme Court. And of course, the Supreme Court said that, in fact, you could not do this based on discrimination based on race. I've been saying this shit year after year after year after year. You cannot do anything when it comes to government on the basis of race. But now I watched Mark Elias from Democracy Docket today. I watched several mainstream videos trying to counter that argument, still based on race. When are we going to learn? Okay, government is a game, politics is how you play it. The rules of the game say you can't do shit based on race. So logically speaking, my mind would go to, okay, my goal is to still have some type of race conscious ideology, but I can't use race. Let me think of other ways to do it. For whatever reason, Democrats don't want to do it. When I say no to black, I'm not saying that to like erase myself. That ain't what I mean. When I say no to black, is for this very reason right here. This very reason.
It is very convenient though that the racists are telling you can't do race.
I'm not denying that, Venkat, but that's not the point. I ain't denying that.
Yeah.
But you must play the game.
I get that for sure.
You can't dilly-dally around and bullshit and tiptoe through the tulips all day long. You can't do it. Because now you see, and this goes to my next article that I want to get to. Because with that being said, guess what else happened today? And, under that same line. And shout out to Ricardo and shout out to Venkat. Because in that same regard, lo and behold, DeSantis officially going forward with his redistricting.
You sure is that bastard.
This is a Hill article right here. Like I said, I'm not denying what you said, Venkat. Of course, it's all meticulously played under nefarious means. I can't dispute that. But the fact still remains. Florida GOP legislature sends new House map, netting party up to 4 seats to DeSantis for signature. All he got to do is sign it. And the Democratic Party in Florida is basically kaput. Basically kaput. I don't know what y'all gonna do down there.
Well, it's funny because all these people that just didn't want to vote, well, now they're not even satisfied with you feeling that way because you could change your mind. They making it that you can't vote. So the black vote is being diluted and being less potent every day passing. And like by the time they get it, it's already game over, man.
Yeah. Yeah, the GOP-controlled Florida legislature passed a new set of Republican-favorite congressional lines. Proposed by who? Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis. Yep. On Wednesday, as state lawmakers, check this out, look to fast-track a new House map as the midterms approach. They're trying to do this shit as soon as possible.
Of course they are.
Because they got the green light this morning.
But that shit could backfire in any case, too. So I hope you know if you're stepping into it, I hope you know what you're stepping into, because this can backfire. I wonder if they could bring the Supreme Court into this, if SCOTUS could get their say in what they're doing, because if who's to say other states won't follow along in terms of the same category, and again, you can still lose for November, but I digress. You know what you're doing.
But you lost your case though. How are you what you gonna bring to the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court already done said, look, you can't do nothing based on race, whether it's a go or a counter. So what's the counter gonna be to a Republican advocacy group to bring to the Supreme Court? Because they told you can't do it off of race. You can't go to the Supreme Court and say, hey, look, we look at these new redistricting maps as unconstitutional based on discrimination of race. They just told you that ain't legit. They just told you you're gonna have to have a damn good argument. But how you gonna argue it?
So in one of the maps that I saw, I forgot what state it was. They were saying that they only had one black district, one predominantly black district. And it's probably 20 or 30 districts overall. And it was only one. And with the redistricting of the map, now it's 0. So how can race not be an issue? Huh?
There you go. You fall into the trap, Van Cat. See, I wouldn't want you to be my counsel in my Supreme Court case. We've been unlost.
Oh, come on.
We've been unlost, man. I'd be like, damn it, Van Cat, I told you not to bring that up. And you did it anyway. We lost.
Yeah, but I'm just saying you can't get around that. Okay, if it was equal or slightly higher or lower, then maybe you have a point. But when the disparity is so vast, we're talking one district.
You said disparity. Simplified disparity. What do you mean by that?
Disparity. The ratio is dwarfed as far as the black districts versus all the other, well, let's just say white districts. It's a significant difference.
So what you're telling me is that you would argue that because of the racial disparity in said district, there should be an inclusive majority. It don't matter what race it is, race-centered district. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm not okay. I'm telling you that there's got to be a problem if you have one, and then they redraw the map and you have 0. That's a problem because that in itself is attacking a specific group. And last time I checked, you can't be profiled or attacked for your race, color, creed, sexuality, so on and so forth. So if a particular
how are you gonna argue that though? Is what I'm trying to find out. How you gonna argue that in a court of law?
That's easy because if you have one and they did an action that made it less than where you started, that is a intent. That is a clear intent to eliminate or reduce a particular group. They think they're smart with this whole thing about you can't bring up race. The racists telling us you can't bring up race, but your actions always show your intent. It's not you can't hide it. You can never hide it. If I have 4 and you did something and I have 1, that action you did negatively impact my group. So you still gotta. I mean, it's right there in plain sight. It's not something that it's like a big gotcha or whatever. The thing that pisses me off is that we're in this position. We got an illegitimate friggin' Supreme Court, which I believe those bastards are like, hey, every now and then let's throw them a bone so it looks like we're legit, and then we'll just do the big tentpole things like this, taking away, all the things that take away niggas' rights. Let's just go ahead and do that. And that's what we've been seeing. Every now and then the Supreme Court, they went against what Trump said, and they try to make it seem like something. And then a big thing like this drops, right? They gave Trump all that executive power that no president ever had. You can't do anything to him as long as he's in that seat. That dropped. That was like a big thing. And then they do like 1 or 2 like things that are like, oh wow, they surprised us by not going the obvious route of the GOP. And then they drop another one. So watch next. They're gonna do something, you'll be like, oh wow, they did something the Democrats wanted. And 1 or 2 will happen, and then something big will drop after that. Guaranteed.
Now, I wanna ask MD a quick question. Just to piggyback off what Venkat was saying. In the state of Georgia, let's say they decided to redistrict Georgia.
It'll never happen.
What do you mean it'll never happen?
The complexity of doing Georgia is so immense that I don't even know how they would start.
Yeah. We have too much leverage in Georgia. We not
Literally.
like Florida. Some of the other states. It won't happen.
That's not true, because Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, that wasn't even a district that existed, and it's super Republican.
Again, you got and this is what I'm saying, the slippery slope.
Yeah.
That district was created based on
overnight
urban sprawl sprawl and organizing. It wasn't created based on trying to get another seat. Parts of her district is part of Metro Atlanta now.
Which is what I was about to say.
It didn't used to be.
Right.
Population matters more in the sense. That's why you can divvy up and cut up a lot of these districts. It's based on population.
Right. So the huge metropolitan areas, like say for instance the Atlantas, or like I don't know, like in Texas you'll have Houston, you have Dallas, you have where else? I'm trying to think of all the major, like in terms of that, when you divvy up and partition off these spaces to do the gerrymandering and all that stuff. How, again, I see the direction that you're trying to go for, but it still doesn't help you when the large metropolitan areas can still easily still kind of sway either way in either direction. So I mean, you can still, and I get what you're saying, because I understand what MD is saying in terms of what Venkat is saying as well. Like, you literally wiping off like literally black communities and whatnot. But who's to say if I can be one of those people that are like, and I put this like how I did the previous segment. My name could be Ricardo, but you don't know if I'm black. You don't know if I'm Hispanic. You don't know if I'm Lithuanian or whatever it is. You can't tell the difference. So at this particular point, am I Hispanic? Am I black? Am I like, you can't tell the difference if I put my name on something. And then I could sway myself to say, well, I'm not black. I'm easily Hispanic. I'm easily what's the other segment that they have on the thing now? You're from the islands, or
AAPI.
All this crap that makes no damn sense. But anybody could sway in either direction to say they're a different ethnicity than what they are. So again, it could tip to either balance. But I just hope they know what they're doing, because it's a slippery slope, like MD says. But again, if we're going down the straight and narrow in terms of the legislation and what the interpretation of it means based on SCOTUS, precedents today, then let it be. Because now, if this is what you're going to try to do, this to steal the election going into November, have all your bootstraps tied up well because pretty much everybody's ready, and everybody should be coming out. And I don't do polls, so don't give me the polls again because this whole polls is literally how we got here with SCOTUS, not SCOTUS, but with Taco and his nonsense. So again, people, if you're gonna vote, vote. But I don't want to hear this thing of, oh, it's gonna be a blue wave and nobody comes out and vote. People, literally, it comes down to voting. Whoever has the upper hand in terms of voting is gonna win. So, DeSantis, I wish you well. And I know you can't be governor again, so don't try to do all that you can to stay in power by putting your wife in place. She not gonna win. So don't use the cancer as an excuse. She ain't gonna win. She'd have to shake some titty or do something to be extravagant. She's not gonna do that. So, come with something more, because in Florida, there's a whole bunch of shenanigans they pull off every single time. You might have the Republican legislation and party in place, but there's only so much you can do when people start voting in droves. And you literally have the Puerto Ricans, which is the huge base down in what you call it county. So that could still strike as a huge potential for the Democrats. And don't forget Broward County and going straight down the center line to Miami-Dade there. So know what you're doing. I hope you know what you're doing here today, but it's not gonna bode well going into November because people are smart. They're not that dense and they're not that dense. But I digress.
Right.
Hey,
So, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say real quick is Ricardo was saying about what's the name? Poland. I for the first time actually got polled. I got a polling link sent to me in my email. I took that just so quick. They asked me about how I feel about Trump and DeSantis and
like I was saying, I done been polled like a couple of times before.
Not me. They never polled me before, but I polled the hell out of that junk. Oh my God! Oh man, I loved it, man. I hope they do it more times.
So we'll part off with this again, going back to Vankat's point. You have to understand leverage, and you got to understand population and how it's moving. In a state like Florida, ain't no black folks moving in Florida, bro. That's just what it is. Not saying that there are not any concentrated black people in one area. That ain't what I'm saying. But when I'm saying, when I say total and complete control, black folks got it in Georgia. We literally control every major city in Georgia. Literally everyone.
Shoot, you control even an airline for crying out loud. Like you can't do nothing with Delta, and these people don't feel salty. Like you would have to do the best to literally, like, you can't. There's literally that much of control when it comes to Georgia. That's what I was saying. If it ever got to that case where they try to redline or redistrict or gerrymander or whatever,
it's impossible to do it in Georgia.
It's gonna be tough.
And on top of that, we got lefty loonies in Georgia. You can't redistrict Metro Atlanta, bro. It's impossible. It's impossible. You can't redistrict Savannah. You can't redistrict Columbus, Augusta. None of them, bro. You can't do it.
But we saw
and it's
that.
not enough. It's not enough rednecks in the rural areas.
That's true.
It just ain't enough.
But MD, we saw this with the election that Taco won the last time around, when it took a long time to actually even you said your mom was, when she was doing the whole like trying to vote and whatnot, that you saw certain things. It's impossible, but that's who's to say they won't still try. Like there's a lot of stuff. I don't think you guys have another gubernatorial race anytime soon. I don't think.
Yeah, we do. We got one this year.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know that. I thought it was a long time coming. I didn't even know you had one this year. But is he gonna try to run again? Whatever his name is that's in place.
No, Brian Kemp is over with.
Oh, okay.
So right now
he better be.
And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. The overall aspect of what Brian Kemp was able to do, I liked it. Brian Kemp did a lot of good shit in Georgia,
and he
placated to Trump.
Yes,
and it didn't work.
The issue. Yeah, that's a valid point. And I think he went underneath the radar, because I think at one point his name was called during the election. I never heard nothing about him after that since. So he's managed to like really ride underneath the radar for quite a bit there, which I find very surprising, because Georgia was out of the headlines. Other than is it Letitia? Letitia was New York. What was the one that lady that
you talking about? Keisha Lance Bottoms, who's running for governor, by the way.
She's running. Okay, well,
yeah. In all honesty, she might be the front runner.
Damn. For the Democrats?
But for the Democrats, yeah.
All right.
But yeah.
No, but do you think she have a likely chance of winning the OMD? Because with the, I mean, there's a lot that came up with that case, and she with the bodyguard, and again, who she sleeps with is
Oh,
nobody's
you talking
business.
about Fonnie Willis? Fonnie Willis ain't
Yes.
got shit to do with.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. But Keisha
Yeah,
Lance Bottoms, she's running. The former
Okay.
mayor of Atlanta.
Okay.
She's running, and it looks like she might be the front runner. Me personally, I would go with the former DeKalb County CEO, Thurman. But yeah, she's running, and you know she been hitting it. So yeah, we got a strong race. We got a strong race going on right now. The primaries are actually the end of May.
Damn.
So
that quick?
Yeah, the primaries end of May.
Jeez. All right. Well, we got a lot.
And I will be voting on the Republican ticket in the primary.
Okay.
Facts.
But MD, we don't want any more CEOs. We don't want any more tech billionaires. We thought we wanted grassroots people that are from like the politics side of coming up, like the lawyers. Why we keep picking the CEOs and the all these people?
I'll tell you that not the CEO of a company. So in Georgia, they got what they call CEOs. They like the county commissioner, but they call him the CEO. So the CEO of DeKalb County, where I grew up, he's running on the Democratic ticket. I'm voting on the Republican ticket, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's a guy by the name. It's the guy by the name of Burt Jones. That's the MAGA guy. I'm doing any and everything that I can do to not have the MAGA guy in the general election.
Got you.
So I'm gonna vote in the Republic, and I'm voting for Brad Raffensperger, who's also running as governor. We all know who Brad Raffensperger is, and I think he's an upstanding citizen as well. You know, he's a Republican, but again, I was once a Republican as well. So I'll be voting for Raffensperger in the primary. Of course, that's the guy that Trump called and said he needed the votes, and he didn't do it.
Okay. I knew that name sounded familiar to me. Okay, I've got you. Now I know who it is. All right. Should be an interesting race to see. And then the last but not least, the quick question. What happened to that pastor guy that was running? Does he still have his seat still in place? The one that was like a preacher, something along the lines of the Church for the Democrats, and around the same time as Marjorie Taylor Greene. Is he still in play here in terms of like running future wise, or his time is almost off?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, come on. The one that wears the glasses. Is that his name? Is that his name?
You talking about
Warnock? He's a preacher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you talking about Warnock? Yeah. His seat ain't up in the midterms. It's only Ossoff's seat is up.
Yeah.
Okay, as long as
which is weird because they both came in at the same time.
Right, Marjorie and him came at the
Ossoff took
the same year.
Kelly, but remember it was a special election because our senator died.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Johnny Ogden died. Then Kelly Loeffler took his place, and that was the special election. And so Ossoff won the special election. That's why they came.
So
in
he
at
was
the same
just
time.
there for the remainder of the term, and then he had to run again.
Yeah, and now it's his re-election. So, all right, that's enough of that Georgia politics and whatnot. Let's get into the leading story, the reason why we all here.
Yes, sir.
Talking about AI, and I hope I picked the right one. Let's see.
Tech leaders from some of the country's biggest companies met with President Trump at the White House last night, promising hundreds of billions of dollars to accelerate artificial intelligence and the infrastructure to power it. They also offered unusually lavish praise for the president at a moment when many in the industry are pressing for a hands-off regulatory approach. It's all unfolding as electricity bills climb nationwide, rising faster than inflation in many places and in some regions far more sharply. The explosive growth of AI and the massive data centers behind it are driving demand and straining the grid. To explain how this hits consumers and what can be done about it, I spoke earlier with Ari Pesco, director of the Electricity Law Initiative at Harvard Law School. So electricity prices are surging nationwide. To what extent is the rapid expansion of AI and those data centers driving up those costs?
So the rise of these industrial scale computing facilities that are needed for AI and other internet applications is certainly one of the factors driving up prices. And I think there's a chance that AI is going to drive our bills even higher in the future. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that these facilities are using so much energy that utilities are building billions of dollars of infrastructure to support them and spreading those costs to all of us. And the second reason is that there are energy markets where utilities buy their power. And because demand from these AI energy centers is booming, it's driving up prices. We're all paying those higher prices.
And some regions are getting hit harder than others. The nationwide average increase is around 6% compared to as high as 14% in places like New Jersey and New York. What explains those disparities?
Well, a lot of our electricity bill increases are due to decisions being made by your local utility. 3 out of 4 Americans receive electricity service from a for-profit company that makes money by investing in infrastructure such as power lines and other related assets. And so a lot of utilities have been replacing power lines on their aging systems and investing in new infrastructure, and that's been driving up bills. But different utilities are making different investment decisions, and that explains some of the disparity around the country.
I'm sure there are people who will hear you say that and they'll ask the question, shouldn't the tech companies that are profiting from these data centers and the AI advances, shouldn't they be the ones to fit the bill? Why are everyday Americans being forced to pay these higher costs?
That's exactly the right question to be asking, but the business model of the utility industry for now more than 100 years has been to invest in their systems and then spread those costs for everyone. That's always thought to be the fair approach to supporting our electricity system. And when you think about it in a lot of ways, that is fair. So for example, if there's a storm in your neighborhood and a tree falls on a power line and the lights go out in your neighborhood, the utility comes to fix that, but it doesn't bill you and everyone in your neighborhood for that. Rather, it spreads the cost of those repairs to everybody. And that, is seen to be fair because certainly you did nothing wrong when that tree falls down. And so that idea of spreading costs through everyone, when the utility needs to expand the system, it doesn't just charge the new residences or new businesses that are joining the system, but again, it spreads those costs to everyone. We're in a bit of a new situation here when you have individual facilities, these data centers, that are using as much electricity as large cities, and they happen to be supporting the wealthiest corporations in the world. I think we need to revisit some of these fundamental assumptions behind how we share the costs of our power system.
So much of this data center build-out is relatively new. Should we be bracing for even higher prices in the years ahead, or are we already seeing the peak?
I think it's certainly possible that the costs of this data center expansion are going to increase for everyone. And that's because data centers have been part of the backbone of our internet for some time now, but the size of these facilities has just so vastly expanded since the introduction of ChatGPT just a few years ago really kicked off this wave of, again, these city-sized data centers that we've never seen before, and many of them are still in development. And so the costs of all the infrastructure and energy associated with them really haven't hit our bills just yet.
And of course, the Trump administration is pushing coal, natural gas, nuclear power to meet the AI-driven demand while kind of moving away from renewable energy like wind and solar. Do you see that approach as addressing the core challenge posed by the rising energy needs?
No, it doesn't make any sense to take supply options off the table, and that's really what this administration is doing, particularly with wind energy. We really need every option we can to boost the amount of electricity if we're going to power these new computing facilities. And as I said, demand is rising, and that's causing prices to go up in many markets around the country. When demand goes up, you want to increase supply as well, and under basic economics, that's going to even out some of the prices, but it doesn't make any sense what they're doing.
So higher bills are here to stay?
That's certainly the trend that we're seeing right now. And all the trend lines are unfortunately pointing in the wrong direction for consumers. So it would be nice to see, again, let's put more supply options on the table that'll help alleviate some of the stress we're seeing. And in addition, we have to be able to get more juice out of our current system. We have to have the utility industry operate it more efficiently. So rather than just building more and more and more, we're actually able to use what we have in a more efficient, cost-effective manner.
Ari Pesco, Director of the Electricity Law Initiative at Harvard Law School. Great to speak with you. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay. So that was a quick clip, real quick, talking about energy consumption, AI data centers, and how it's going to affect me and you. Where I live at, we got what you call like an EMC. You know what an EMC is? It's like a co-op type of utility. Where I live at used to be the sticks. It used to be considered like a rural area. So they had what you call like a utility co-op. Basically, the community pay for the infrastructure of the utility. We pay the bill every month, and then if the EMC has like a net profit at the end of the year, we would get rebates back at the end of the year. So like not last year, but year before last, I actually got $400 credit on my electric bill saying, hey, look, the company was such and such net profit. We're sharing the profit with all the members. You get $400, basically a bill off. You know what I'm saying? You got what you call for profit. That's like your Georgia Power. I don't know what y'all power call down there, like the main power.
FPL.
Okay, so that's like your for profit. Like we got Georgia Power. That's like your
Florida
private.
Power Line.
Yeah, that's your private ownership electric company. A couple of months ago, this was like first of the year, we got a letter saying, hey, look, we having such, I didn't go to the meeting, by the way, but they were saying, hey, we having such and such meeting, and this such and such address in Gainesville. We're going to discuss things that we need to do going forward. We're thinking about selling to Georgia Power because they building a data center up in Gainesville near the lake. And, they basically saying we need all the power like in all the surrounding areas.
That's crazy.
I ain't heard nothing about it since, it is what it is. I mean, I got to have power in my house, so, it is what it is. But that's the ominous sign telling you what's what in terms of power. Not only that, again, I live not even 5 minutes away from Lake Lanier. They got a hydro dam at Lake Lanier that saying that, once this project is done, and the people that live up there near the AI, they push it back. They like, oh, hell no.
They better push back.
So, if and when they have the completion of that data center, hydropower as well is going to be diverted to that AI center. Most of the water that Georgia consumes come from Lake Lanier.
Thank you. And which was built on what again?
Nigga Town.
Thank you.
So
Lest we forget.
So now you're talking about now me, it's not going to affect me well, it may affect me.
It may affect you.
My water is included in because I rent, I don't own. My water is included in my house. It's part of the bill. But I mean, I'm pretty sure if that water go up based on the diversion of said water priority wise, chances are my landlord going to up my monthly house. I mean, I'm pretty sure he will. You know what I'm saying?
He has no choice. He has to pass the bill on to you.
Yeah, pass it on to you. That's what they say about the tariffs. All you got to pass the tariff along.
You got to pass it on to somebody.
So what I'm telling you is this shit affect all of us in some way, form, or fashion. But Van Cat, I'm gonna let you go first. Go ahead.
Hold on. I was looking up something. Well, as far as these data centers, I'm not a fan of. I just said I did a survey, polling survey, and that was one of the things in the poll. as far as like wanting to have a data center open. Right now, they have one nearby where I live at that they have halted since December, and there's a bill that they're looking to vote on to see if they want to open the center or not. But it just takes an absorbent amount of water, a lot of energy. Not to mention the environmental damage. I don't want to see issues where people are getting exorbitant amount of cancer that's locals in the area, or that water is catching on fire, or whatever the hell new issue can come out of this type of project. I don't really see an upside to it. They always try to quote, "Oh, well, there's jobs, X amount of jobs coming." I think we can have jobs without people dying or getting screwed over for high energy costs, high energy bills. And what a sweet gig these millionaires and billionaires plotted, right? So these bastards can move into your city and then have our dumbasses pay for their projects with a sweetheart deal that they made with the local government, which is insane to me. And when I first heard about this, and when I first read about this, because I noticed my energy bill the last couple of years have been steadily going up, and it never comes back down. I used to pay about $74, $79. A high month would be $85, and now I'm like in the
You talking about the
120s,
light bill, right?
130s.
The light bill, indeed.
And
Yeah.
Damn, that's a low ass light. I wish my light bill was that damn low.
I know a lot of people have it even higher.
Well,
But
mine's is higher. I don't know. Mine's
Man,
like 180.
my light bill every month, man, is closer to 300.
No, I'm not that high. Mine's like 180, 200. That's the closest.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not home enough. I'm not home enough to do that. I mean, I'm spending like 10, 12 hour shifts, and only towards the end of the day, I'm home. But I mean,
that makes sense.
So,
Like I said, my kids, they damn near 24/7 on PCs and all type of shit run. So that's why my shit's so high.
Yeah, and it's only going to get higher. And water is the most important resource on the planet. I don't care what anybody says. Without water, you ain't got nothing. You don't got life. And if we're just burning through water for some friggin' data center, that's just insane. And I'm paying for it. It's coming on my dime. We didn't even ask for this. Nobody knew it's. Nobody knows it's happening. I told some people at work, "Hey, you notice your bill getting higher?" Everybody says yes. When I start saying, "Hey, it's those," I think it's data centers and whatnot that are affecting the bill. They just don't seem to be interested. They don't seem to. It doesn't seem to connect or click. Which, if anybody did anything, and it costs you money for something they're doing, everybody would be outraged. Everybody would be outraged. I don't understand how there's just certain things that are happening in today's time, and we just like, yeah. So anyway, that my take on it. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's something in the long run that why does it have to take so much water? My God, why does it have to be so environmentally impacted?
Cause it's cool. You got to think about it, Van Cat. You talking about millions and millions of square feet of nothing but server racks.
Yep,
and shit.
battery and computers.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Do you know the amount of extreme heat that shit let off? So they use the water for cooling purpose. It's hydro. They use it for cooling purpose.
So,
and like I said, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, just think of it like how your PC will be cool. Like you have to cool, like it literally heats up literally every single time you use it. So if you have like a hardcore PC user that uses it for games and whatnot, your computer. I don't know if they still have those computers that used to cool themselves with like a certain mechanism, like a fan, like a system that cools it. It's the same concept with the data centers. It has to use water to cool all that heat because it draws so much energy. It literally has to be cooled down or it's just going to burn itself down. So that's the problem. But I wanted to jump in a little bit more and deep dive a little bit more so than you in terms of how you touched on it, Venkat. In the state of Florida, I don't know about Georgia because Georgia used the near as well as they have a whole bunch of other um you know sections that they use for like in terms of the dams that they have. Mind you, most of it's built on nigger towns, on what you call those burial grounds for like the Indians back in the day, the mounds and all that stuff. Um,
Yeah.
in terms of Florida though, Florida is primarily built on limestone. Not if y'all don't know, when you hear them talk about sinkholes and all of that, we have a
Hmm.
huge aquifer, which is literally, and what if you don't know what an aquifer is, literally it's like underground rivers and water because we have so many what you call them um I'm lost for words right now. They're like literal springs. So we have a lot of springs that are like you
Yeah,
know
shout out to Zephyr Hills, the best water in America.
It is not. It
Man, I
is
no, I mean
love
not.
it.
it's come
Dude,
a long way.
every time I go to Florida, bro, I get Zephyr. That shit is
And
delicious.
it's a real place, by the way. If you all don't know that
Yeah, I
Zephyrus is a
know.
real
Yeah,
place.
Zephyr Hills water is
It's a real
delicious, man.
spring. Yeah, spring water is
It's
very
not.
important. So I always tell people to drink spring water instead of purified spring water is always better, but it depends on what
That's
you get.
true. That is
But
true, but it doesn't
never
taste
drink
right.
purified. Drink spring
Yep.
water. And in fact, Floridians we shouldn't even be paying for bottled water because we have so much spring water aquifers here. But to touch
Like
back on the
should
data,
be drinking alkaline water.
literally we should be, but that's a whole nother conversation to be had. But in terms of the state of Florida, I don't know if data centers can really work here. And my primary concern regarding the data centers being built in Florida is these
Yeah.
underground aquifers. The more you drain water, because they literally seep through every crevice everywhere. When it comes to limestone, if you all don't know limestone, it literally like it goes literally deep. I think it's either 500 feet down to like 1,000. I can't remember the estimation. But the more it seeps down in terms of water, is the more it creates a sinkhole. And if you all are not familiar with sinkholes, Florida is notorious for sinkholes. And the reason being is because
Yep.
water has to go somewhere. The more it seeps downwards, is the more it creates a sinkhole. When you draw all this water out of the aquifers, which Florida has
Mm.
the largest, I think, in the state of Florida, in terms of the state of in the entire United States, Florida has the largest aquifer I could think of, and the largest reservoir system I could think of, and it's literally from Florida all the way up to Alabama. I think it's how large it is because you have a lot of water that flows downwards in terms of how it's set up. But that's
Yeah.
geography, topography, and everything. When you draw all this water out, where do you think it's going to create an issue at? And this is where I want people to think when they vote. It's not about so much about you get saying, yeah, about the FPL and blah blah blah. It's the fact that it's a huge environmental issue. Again, if you all didn't remember the case of the guy that like literally, and he still can't find his body to this day, was literally in his bed, and it was him and his brother,
Yep.
and one of them literally was, I guess the house was
Swallowed
on
up
top
in
of,
the.
literally got swallowed by a sinkhole. The
Yep.
whole house, like literally almost the entire neighborhood almost got swallowed up. But his house was on the epicenter, and they still cannot find that man's body because it's still going down a crevice so large and deep in the earth that it's like it would be impossible. This is my concern regarding Florida overall. I don't know about Georgia. I don't know about Alabama. I don't know about Mississippi and the rest of them. But the state of Florida cannot handle them draining all this water to create data centers. It's a literal environmental bust. Don't do it. I cannot stress how we had a building that collapsed in Surfside, and that still again because Florida's sinking, everything in terms of the mounds, the sands, everything is sinking downwards because of the water aquifer being drained. Where are you gonna get all these resources to fill those gaps up when like it's keeps sinking lower and lower? My concern, people, is the data centers drains a lot of water. Environmentally, it is never good for anyone in terms of population wise. Why are we still doing this? Again, why we can't use the ocean to cool these data centers? Why are they not thinking about other? And again, that's a whole other cause of concern because you're gonna pollute the fish and marine life.
Yep.
So
Yep.
if finding Dory and finding Nemo didn't
Nemo.
teach us enough,
Yep.
we're going into that whole space and again, this is to me, I just don't see the purpose of data centers. But if we're gonna progress technology wise, I guess we're gonna have to go somewhere. Why can't we go to Greenland, or Antarctica, or the Arctic? Again, I still, cause for concern there again, because what's gonna happen to the pollutants? Did we not have MD? I thought we had one point use nuclear power. That's
Yeah,
a
we
huge.
did, and I was just about to bring that up. But finish your thought.
No, but again, this is where, like, when do we draw the line at some point where it's, again, if it was nuclear power pollutants killing us with cancer, now we're gonna do data centers that are now gonna now need cooling, but then it's gonna drain that disgusting water back somewhere. And are we cleaning that water out? Because you're gonna have to purify water. How do you clear it up? I'm trying to think in a way when you're rolling back all the environmental things that were put in place now that Trump has now rolled them back. When you build these data centers, who is going to be policing? Because now you have to concern yourself with cancer. You're going to concern yourself with pollutants. Now you're going to concern yourself with
Yeah,
why and
but
can't.
Ricardo, you're talking regulations now.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
regulation is
Republicans
one
don't like
thing.
regulations.
Yeah, but what regulation is one thing, Venkat. Like, I don't mind regulations, but when it comes to the concern of the general population not knowing how far of an extent this is going to be, if you build a data center, it's years and years of you withdrawing water and withdrawing resources to then pollute it back into the environment to then affect you. Did we not learn from Aaron Brockovich and all these other movies? When are we going to draw the line? But I
Yeah.
digress. You see what I'm
So
saying?
so Yeah, so you brought up nuclear, right? And that's actually pertinent to this topic. So when I used to go up to like Wheeling, West Virginia, and
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and I would see all these, and this was my first time like ever seeing this when I first started driving, like seeing actual nuclear plants. I ain't never seen no nuclear plant before, but they were old and decrepit. I guess they weren't really using them like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But you would always see a nuclear plant, no matter where you went. You will always see a nuclear plant like near a body of water, whether it was like a
Exactly.
river or some shit like that. And the
Exactly.
reason why is because they needed that cooling for the nuclear reactors and
Yep.
shit. So
Bingo.
they would build a dam or some shit like that would revert power and water to the nuclear reactor, and that's why they built them by like the river or some shit like that.
Or a lake
With
or something.
with some type of body of water. They needed it, right?
Mm-hmm.
With these data centers, yeah, I mean, there might not be like the same type of risk in terms of like health risk and shit like that. But you gotta think, what's the process of like using this water and like you said, Ricardo, it pushing it where the water gonna go? You know what I'm saying? With a lot of the nuclear, it was they would use the dam in order to almost like refill because the water would be evaporated. We're talking
Yes.
about nuclear. This shit is on another level. Heat. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of these data centers, not so much. So what type of process is being used to clean the water, recycle it? What's going on here? You know
And
what
no
I'm
one
saying? So you
and
made a good point about
yeah,
that.
no, and nobody's talking about it. I get that, and again, we see them pushing the narrative of, "Hey, yes, it's good for us in the future, and it's going to make this and augmentation and blah blah blah, and things are going to move faster." But my concern is, yeah, I'm like MD here, like I don't mind the government being involved, but not too much. But when it comes to certain things that we need to know as the general public, because now, many people is being briefed as for what is the environmental concern here. Where do you then say to these people that are building like the Elon Musk and the whatnots to say to them, hey, we don't mind you building data centers, but what is the percentage or what is the issue here that if God forbid something happens where there's pollutants that get into the water stream and all that and affect a huge community that it's built around? Who fixes that? Who then goes in and then do we shut the community down? Do we then how does that all curtail into the next step? Because now it sounds good on paper. Yeah, you could build it, it's going to create jobs, but then what's the long-term ramification? Like how we had when you build like these nuclear places and nuclear reactors and all that in an environment where it now flows back, like the water comes back into the community, flows back down the stream or whatnot. When people start getting cancer, and it's a correlation of wait a minute, it's not just this person, but it's like 50 other people. What do you then do? Because then we've seen this in Aaron Brockovich, we've seen this in other movies, and we've seen this in real life where like a whole community end up with cancer, and it's the decade, 20 years down the line, nobody realized and figured out it was the water filtration in the system that flows back into the community. That's a concern. And the data centers is like it's popping up left, right, and center. And the other places other than Florida and maybe Georgia, I could think of is maybe Virginia and California next, because again, those are the boom tech towers, and I think maybe Massachusetts. When you draw the line of saying to these big tech companies, what is it that could do so like how MD mentioned, like you get a cut of like they give you back I think a certain amount on your light bill for like the month. I believe you said like if they don't use a certain amount.
It was an annual thing.
Right.
If the company made money for that year,
Then they give you
everybody
back.
that's part of everybody that's part of the co-op will get a piece back.
So it's kind of like a
It's a
profit
co-op.
sharing, like a profit sharing in a
it's
sense,
co-op,
right?
yeah.
So if they came to like everybody and brought up that as a like maybe a grift to say, well, if we use a certain amount of percentage of water, blah blah blah, and then we could put it back and pump it back, and we give you throw it back on the bill, which I doubt they're gonna do, because everything is money at this point. Why would I want to profit and then share it back to the people when I could just grift it all the way through?
Well, remember though, Ricardo, usually, and I ain't saying this for all, but usually the water utility is a government issue. Like the water is controlled by your local government because they control the water treatment plant. So it, in that aspect, it really ain't a private issue; it's a public issue when it comes to the water.
Right.
But again, how hard are these local governments willing to play ball with a lot of the AI companies? That's the main concern.
And
right?
then and the other concern, remember we talked about this before as well, MD, where the government tells you that you're not allowed to catch water on account of that it might, you're provisioning and taking water
we ain't
away
got no
from.
shit like that here. Like that's a Florida. I ain't never heard no shit like that.
But in the state of Nevada or in certain states where like water is like a necessity and it's being drawn out, and it there's not enough, like for instance where the Hoover Dam is, like the water is lowering to a certain level. If you decide to catch your own water, they could actually use that against you, because I think you're not allowed to in certain states to actually catch water in a bucket or whatever it was that to then use the provision. You're telling me an act of God that like everybody's entitled to the just like you're entitled to
It's
liberties
called
and
capitalism, baby.
you're entitled to the necessities of life, and water is one. You mean to tell me that the government can then tell me, or Vancat or MD, that no, sir, you're not allowed to catch water, and if you do, we're entitled to then tax you for it, because now you're stealing water away from us, the government, that's supposed to give it to you. That's again, I mean, where do you draw the line? Because if you're creating data centers to do that, and I can't catch my own water in a drum, like how they used to do back in the day, where do I then draw the line to say, well, I mean, at some point in time, you're still profiting off the fact that I, as a human being, need the necessity of water. It's crazy.
That's crazy. I ain't never
That's
heard no
crazy.
shit like that. And the logic don't even make sense. The
It really doesn't.
rainwater is distilled water. You know that, right?
We
like
know.
it ain't got no nutritional value at all. Like that shit is crazy.
It is crazy, but I could swear to you, if you look it up, it is true. There's certain states that block you from catching your own water. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to do it. But that's what I'm saying. So
you can't plant fruit and vegetables in some states.
That might be another issue too. Like, who is to say you're drawing water from when you create these fertilized fruits and vegetables that you're creating, you're taking resources from somewhere else. So again, that ties into everything. There's regulations and rules and legislation, but I don't mind government interjecting itself when it needs to be, but this is one of those things where I need them to interject and say, oh, what happens in the future when that becomes a problem.
Yep.
Hey man, hey, that all good points. You can't argue with none of them. Like I said, man, we may not, like I said in the video, we may not be seeing the effects right now, but the more and more these AI data centers sprout up, the worse and worse it's gonna get.
Of course.
That's just a fact. It's simple as supply and demand. If you have certain utility companies prioritizing, because essentially what it is government contracts. Because again, these AI data centers and the infrastructure to uphold these data centers, they're not getting paid by the companies themselves. These is government contracts. The government is paying a lot of these utility companies to, hey, look, we need the infrastructure to prop up said data center. We're willing to give you subsidies or whatever the hell to do it. Then they profit off of that. Then they turn around and profit off you based on supply and demand, because the priority is going toward the data center now, meaning it's less supply, but it's more demand. It's always going to be more demand because everybody need power. Everybody need water. The demand ain't going nowhere. The supply is controlled essentially by the government. If you're not going to implement some sort of incentive to make sure that it's enough infrastructure to accommodate everybody, which ultimately it's never going to be that way, because you can't accommodate everybody in that type of situation, it leaves us with our ass in the wind. Us meaning the consumer. So, I get your point. I get your point. That's why it's important for a lot of these communities to push back. And it don't matter if it's white, black, whatever, they pushing back because they understand that impact. So, it's all important points. But
we need a law. We need a law to stop those kind of decisions being made by governors or the local government. It needs to be voted on by the citizens, man, because that's a lot of land. It disrupts a lot of the lives of the citizens that have to live there. I don't think like a governor doing a sweetheart deal with Bezos or Zuckerberg or any of them guys. That shouldn't be how this is happening. And these things are just pop up into our lives like that. If it wasn't for More Perfect Union, I wouldn't even have known about it or understood what the hell was going on. All I did was see my bill just ticking up. And like you guys say, other people have higher bills, but mine's is higher for what I usually pay. So what you usually pay is going to be higher for you as well. And this is just the beginning. It's just going to continue to go higher and higher and higher. So I don't know how can they put that onto a city, a state, like without even getting approval from the constituents that live in these cities, that live in the state. Like, it's just insane, man.
Hey, I understand, man. I understand. Like I said, we all got certain conditions that we live up under. Like I said, my condition, because I got an EMC, is not the condition of a person that got like private utilities and all that. But
yep.
We gonna keep in the line of AI. We gonna go into this video and let me know what y'all think on the other side.
In a few years, artificial intelligence went from being a technological promise to a global economic race.
Ever since the AI boom took off, there have been warnings about a bubble. Tech companies are pouring billions into advanced chips and data centers, and the final bill may run into the trillions.
But behind the technological enthusiasm, signals that worry some economists have begun to appear.
That's led to wider market nerves again about the massive spending on AI infrastructure and how much of it is being funded by debt.
For example, OpenAI has signed infrastructure commitments that exceed trillions of dollars for the coming years.
OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT, has signed a 7-year, $38 billion deal to buy cloud services from Amazon.
Meanwhile, the tech industry is in a race to build increasingly larger data centers.
Policymakers are paying a lot of attention to this issue and the demand created by the construction of new data centers.
But to sustain these projects, companies in the sector would have to multiply their revenues several times before the end of the decade.
OpenAI essentially needs to grow revenue by 85x in 5 years to have even the remotest chance of making the bills.
Announcements continue and investments keep growing, but more and more analysts are starting to question whether this expansion can really be sustained. So, why the AI bubble is worse than people think. Over the past few years, artificial intelligence has become one of the main investment drivers within the technology sector. Companies around the world began investing enormous amounts of capital in data centers, model development, and specialized hardware. And the numbers show the scale of this phenomenon. Some estimates indicate that global spending on artificial intelligence could exceed $500 billion per year before the end of the decade. At the same time, market enthusiasm has driven extraordinary valuations for companies dedicated to developing this technology.
The company's record sales have been fueled by an emerging technology.
We're the world's engine for AI.
Here's how an under-the-radar graphics processor is cashing in on the AI craze.
This has led several companies in the sector to reach valuations above $100 billion in just a few years. However, the rapid growth has also raised doubts among some financial analysts. Economic history shows that when expectations exceed real revenues, bubbles can form, such as when the crypto market reached $3 trillion. For this reason, more and more experts are questioning whether the growth of artificial intelligence is sustainable.
These projects are set in stone. This money will be spent. The next 12 months will continue to see this very strong capex cycle, but sustainability of that is a cause for concern.
The development of advanced AI systems requires gigantic infrastructure. The most complex models require data centers with thousands of processors working at the same time. Some already exceed 10,000 chips. For this reason, several technology companies have begun signing financial commitments that exceed any recent precedent within the industry. One of the most striking examples is the case of OpenAI, which has signed infrastructure agreements close to $1 trillion for the next 5 years. In addition, the cost of building specialized facilities continues to increase. Amazon, for example, is one of the main companies increasing spending on data centers across the country.
The company is set to put $10 billion more into Ohio over the next 5 years, expanding its Amazon Web Service data centers, housing equipment for powering AI, machine learning, and other cloud computing technologies.
This growth has also boosted the energy market needed to power these facilities. In some individual projects, electricity consumption can equal that of cities with more than 100,000 inhabitants. This has made the scale of these projects reflect the level of confidence that exists in the future growth of artificial intelligence. However, this level of investment also creates enormous pressure on the revenues companies will have to generate in the future.
To make all of this math work, Bain estimates that $2 trillion of new revenue is needed. That is 7% of US GDP.
To sustain such large financial commitments, companies need to expand their business at an extraordinary speed. The expected growth exceeds what most technology companies have achieved in the past. For example, OpenAI would have to go from about $12 billion in 2025 to nearly $1 trillion annually by 2030. A leap of this magnitude would be one of the fastest corporate growths recorded in modern history. In addition, the challenge is not limited to increasing revenue. At the same time, training advanced models can cost hundreds of millions of dollars per project.
That I think's happened in the industry since is we're now in a world where we made incredible progress with distillation. We learned a lot to do small models, and these reasoning models in particular can be, it's not cheap, it's still expensive to train them.
Given this situation, the artificial intelligence services market is still in an early stage. Some estimates indicate that less than 20% of global companies use these tools intensively. This has forced many companies to bet on extremely accelerated growth. However, that expansion also depends on a complex network of financial relationships within the technology sector itself.
There are dozens of investment structures just like this. And the problem is these Ouroboros-like dealings are impossible to track and measure. Because the revenue of one company is the cost of another company is the investment of another company.
Within the artificial intelligence ecosystem, many companies maintain investment and consumption relationships at the same time. Thus, tech companies create an economic network where money constantly circulates among them. A clear example appears in the relationship between Microsoft and OpenAI. Microsoft has invested more than $13 billion in the company to boost the development of its models. In turn, OpenAI uses Microsoft's cloud computing infrastructure to train its artificial intelligence systems.
The company Microsoft first invested in 2019 on the condition that they were their exclusive partner infrastructure-wise with their Azure cloud. In return, Microsoft got certain access to some of this OpenAI tech.
In addition, Microsoft uses part of that revenue to buy chips from NVIDIA, a market that already exceeds $500 billion. These chips have become the central component of modern artificial intelligence systems. That is why demand for these processors has been so strong that NVIDIA's revenues revenues grew more than 200% in just 2 years. This type of relationship creates an economic circuit where several companies become investors, customers, and suppliers at the same time.
A circular deal is when companies are basically flowing money, products, services in between two of them.
For this reason, understanding the real value of the sector is difficult, since more than 40% of revenues come from transactions between the same companies. When several companies buy products and services from each other, it becomes more difficult to identify which revenues come from independent market demand. In some cases, the revenue of one company represents at the same time the operating expense of another company within the same technological ecosystem. Recent studies indicate that more than 60% of cloud spending on artificial intelligence comes from large technological companies within the sector itself. This means that a significant part of demand comes from the same companies trying to expand artificial intelligence infrastructure.
So the way we have to think about this is from the entire value chain perspective, that it's not just about mega cap tech names. There's other semiconductor companies, there's other data center companies, there's other software companies that are benefiting from the rise of this theme.
Despite the similarities, some economists point out that the current situation is not identical to other technological bubbles of the past. For example, during the internet boom in the year 2000, many companies reached enormous valuations without generating significant revenue. In comparison, today, large technological companies produce gigantic profits every year. Companies like Microsoft or Apple generate tens of billions of dollars in annual profits.
Yeah, and certainly we're advancing today on the strength of the Mag 7. So far, year to date, it had been Meta and Microsoft and Amazon back in February, NVIDIA then had made new all-time highs.
However, the current problem does not lie only in the profitability of these companies. Today, some artificial intelligence companies have seen their value rise by more than 300%. This shows how high expectations are about the future of AI. But it also raises an important question about who would absorb the losses if those expectations are not met.
People are worried specifically when it comes to comparisons to the dot-com bubble of assets that have vastly exceeded their value, and then if things go up and there's no revenue to support it, things go down.
Even some statements within the sector itself have generated debate. The chief financial officer of OpenAI mentioned that artificial intelligence infrastructure projects might need government backing in the future. For example, in 2008, several banks received public support worth billions of dollars to avoid collapse. The idea of public backing implies that if the business model does not generate sufficient revenue, governments could be pressured to intervene. This would open the door to a scenario where citizens end up assuming part of the financial risk created by the technology sector. And this is already being felt, as support for strategic companies already exceeds $1.2 trillion.
President Trump, he recently just announced the Stargate project, which is a collaboration among OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank that aims to invest up to $500 billion over just 4 years to develop AI infrastructure in the United States.
While AI is transforming many industries thanks to its ability to automate tasks, the current rate of investment seems unsustainable, as many companies would need to reach unprecedented revenue levels to become profitable.
So, in other words, what they're saying is, and I'm going to try to put this in a nutshell because it was very complex, very economic video. Essentially, the AI shelf in and of itself is a large community. It circulates money within itself, and little by little gaining revenue, whether it be through consumer or government subsidies or contracts, continues to grow and grow in investment, and it's banking on getting to the point where to the government is too big to fail. They basically said at the end of the video that Sam Altman admitted, like, look, this thing is going to get to a point where we're not going to be able to sustain ourselves. And the government going to have to intervene.
Oh, so, just like 2008?
Just like 2000. They said it in the video. Just like 2008. So it is, to my opinion, to say AI is not sustainable. Not in the way that it's going right now. It's not sustainable. But they looking at a lifeline via federal government. Ricardo, what you got?
Yeah, I gotta agree with that opinion that it's not sustainable at all. I think it's one of those things where it's almost as if they kind of know the trajectory of what is in essence what's gonna be happening, but no one wants to say the loud part out loud yet. Everything is about investments. Everything is about like what they could gain monetary wise, but you still have to extract resources. You still have to build resources. You still have to sign contracts. You still have to do a whole bunch of stuff. I feel like the government already, even though it's in bed with most of these companies, don't want to alert too much of what the issue is when it comes to the general public not really having a full-on grasp or understanding of what AI really can do.
Hey, hold on real second, Ricardo. What the hell is that?
Hey,
This is my
I
fault.
was just playing around with StreamYard. I found that there's a polling in StreamYard. So we can make any question you want and then give different options for people in the chat.
Here we
They
go
could
with
just
AI.
pick the. Yeah, man, this junk is great. I wish we had this on some past shows where we were asking certain questions, and we can have people that are watching the show put in the chat
All right, man.
whatever answer they want, and then we can have the whole poll just run for the whole show.
I see that. So how do you answer the poll?
Well, you go on the chat. So you see, I just answered it. I put no. Says do we think I made the question? You could make it whatever you want, and then
Oh, you
I
just
put
put
in
you
the
just put 1, 2, 3, or 4.
yeah,
Well, I'll be
yeah,
damned.
yeah, and it gives you a percentage. This junk is awesome, man.
Yeah, just StreamYard coming up. My bad, Ricardo. Go ahead.
No, you're good. But yeah, I feel like they know it's not sustainable. They know what is to come, but don't want to do nothing about it until it gets extremely hard to ignore, and then they're going to interject and jump in. I don't think there's a huge understanding, I think, of the general public so far, like the people who don't really know that much of what AI is capable of doing. Um, but I feel like the hell is this? Like, this is weird. But I feel like a lot of people need to sound the alarm a little bit more sooner than um, than what is being proposed now. Where do you think, MD, and if I could ask, because you're Captain Capitalism, sometimes when it comes to poor people, in I wouldn't say I think that's a harsh word to say, poor people, but people who don't have the means of you know understanding what it can do in terms of its effect on their lives. Where do you see that crossing over in terms of where the tech billionaires are at and in terms of what they want to achieve compared to a regular Joe Schmo that's down the road from you, who is just about going about his day in life, that really wants all he wants to ascertain is a livelihood of having a home with a picket fence and all of that. But at the same time, doesn't want to give up his convenience, if that makes sense. So I want to go to the bank. I want everything to be fast paced, like fast food and all of that. But I don't want to wait in a long line. I don't want to deal with the traffic flow of like standing in a line for like 15, 20 minutes in my car while it's overheating and running. I know my car is about to break down. But I want the fast convenience of, hey, I'm gonna go in, bim, boom, boom, that it's done and over with, and I'm done. Kind of like and hold
I
on.
don't got no issue with that.
But at the same time, how do you explain to Joe Schmo that, hey, so you're gonna have to give up something in order to gain this, which is AI? Where do you draw? Because I'll give you an example. For me, what I used to do, but I used to love Bank of America. Bank of America was my bank of choice because it was everywhere I could find it. And he had a teller, and he had a drive-through, and for me, I like going through the drive-through, and so the teller would be able to help me. Now, when you look at all these financial institutions, you don't barely see drive-throughs that much anymore. I think VOA was the first to get rid of drive-throughs here in Florida, and I was like, wait, what do you mean there's no more drive-throughs? They got rid of it. The augmentation kicked in, and they were like, it's costing too much money to have a teller, so we're gonna get rid of drive-throughs, and they got rid of it. And therefore, when you got rid of that, you got rid of me as a consumer. I went to the next bank, which is Chase, JP Morgan, or I think other than Chase, JP Morgan, you have Wells Fargo, now it's Trust. I don't even know whatever bank they have down here anymore. But that was a huge thing. And I literally asked the bank manager one day, I'm like, why is it that you guys got rid of the tellers? And literally they were like, augmentation is here. There's no need for me to have, I could literally just have one teller compared to like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10s and one banker. And the drive through takes up too much time and convenience. But I'm like, but you're going to lose customers because the whole point of convenience is to make it easy. And if I go to a drive through, I want to get my food right away. If I go to, let me not go to the dirty angle of this, but you get my drift. Everything needs to be like I had to go to somewhere. It needed to be done quick, fast paced. Let's move. Let's go. I think what the government needs to explain to regular Joe Schmo is what is the convenience that you're giving up in order to gain AI here, because you have to give up something to gain more. If you want fast, easy, quick, like for instance, I explained this the other day. I went to friggin' Wendy's, and Wendy's now friggin' has an AI chat thing that you now, when you pull up to the drive-through, you're speaking to an AI augmented,
Hey,
like
I'm gonna keep it real with you, Ricardo. I'm gonna keep it, and I'm being totally honest here.
Yeah,
cause we got them too. Like we got like at Checkers, they got the AI person at the drive-through. They take my order better than that nigga.
It's so weird to me. I'm still not used to that.
They get the order right and everything. You tell them you don't want no cheese or no tomato,
That is
and
so
you get
weird.
the damn burger and it ain't got no cheese or no tomato on it.
Damn.
It's incredible. The nigga, you tell the nigga you don't want no cheese and no tomato, it still got cheese and tomato on it.
And pickles. Don't forget the pickles.
It's amazing.
Yeah, but I mean, so you see the AI thing I'm talking about in your neck of the woods up in Georgia with the machine.
Yeah. We got the AI drive-through.
That's creepy as hell, man. The first time I saw it down here like a month ago, I was like, "What the hell is this?" But it's literally an AI person you're talking to. You think it's a live person? It ain't. It's actually somebody that's on the opposite end, which is augmented reality. And it's a little bit weird to me because to talk to Signet as if it's a real person while it's taking my order is still bizarre to me. But it's a little bit get used to. But again, if we could explain the convenience of it all compared to what you're not going to be getting down the road, I think will probably scare people straight. But that's a whole other conversation to be had. We all want fast pace, we want easy, we want quick, and we want accuracy. But what does it come at a cost of? And that's what I'm trying to get at.
We got it. I hate Little Caesars is the nastiest pizza. It's nigga pizza. Little Caesars, right?
Stick to Domino's.
Yeah, I don't like Domino's either, but Little Caesars, that's the ultimate nigga pizza. But sometimes my kids, if they want a bite to eat, they'll go up to Little Caesars and get them a pizza or whatever. Our Little Caesars ain't got no people in it. Not like at all. You order the pizza, and just magically, I don't know how they do it. The pizza is right there. It's some type of machine. They got like a glass thing and the machines back there that put the pizzas on the conveyor. So I'm assuming they got arms or whatever that put the cheese and the tomato, and you order it on your phone and you go up there and your pizza there. It's crazy. But that's where we at. So with that being said, now I got to ask you this. So let's go into history first before I do that. Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson started Job Corps and all that because the industry was changing in terms of prioritization of certain jobs. Where is the government infrastructure that's giving the young people incentives and advantages to basically form a new industry in terms of a labor market? Because I don't see that compared to what we saw before. I don't agree with you that the job should be there. What I'm saying is, as capitalism, we should be ever evolving. Progressivism is part, if we're gonna look at it from an economic sense, ever evolving. Where's the evolution when it comes to the incentives, the training, the motivation when it comes to merging the youth, because that's what we're talking about at the end of the day. It ain't regards to me and you, the youth, in terms of evolving into these industries and not focusing on the industries of the past. That's what I would ask you.
So in terms of that question, MD, when and you see what happens when youth is like and when we talk about youth, we're talking about the younger, up and coming jits. We call them jits here in Florida, like young up and coming kids. What happens when they're idle? They get bored, right? They have nothing to do. So when you swallow up and take up all these industries and jobs that usually would be for them, like say for instance, they're coming out of school in what, the end of June, going into June, the second week of June. Usually during that time, kids are usually looking for summer jobs and all of that. When you take away all of that stuff, the incentive that gives them something to look forward to during that time, they gain the monetary means and access. What do you think is going to happen when they're restless? There's nothing for them to do. They're going to be idle. They're going to be all over the place. They're going to become a nuisance, as these people, the older sets of people will complain about. Why is it that they're not doing this? Oh, there's no community centers. You're gonna have to find something for them to be angled at and to do, or find, fulfilling at. And I don't see where, we're giving the younger youths that are down the line. It's bad enough they're not involved in politics because they find that boring or they just don't get it. It's another thing when they're coming out of school, high school, whatever it is, because I think you start now. They're trying to lower the age. It used to be that you get out like 17, 18. I think 16 is usually when you start working. They're trying to lower that, but that's a whole part of Project 2025. I just don't understand where the incentive is going to be, and from a capitalistic point of view, when you take away the entry level jobs for them to enter into the grocery stores, the I don't know where else they could go to. Being a part of the malls.
That's a wrap, man. That's over with. You might well kill that.
So I don't
That's
know.
done deal. Ain't no kids trying to work at these jobs like we now. My kids work at Popeye. They understand. Hey, look, man, I want my own money. They understand that. But what I'm saying is the transition between high school and whatever else is there. I don't want to focus it on like teenage motivation. I don't think that shit is even relevant no more, to be honest with you. I'm talking about a whole entire workforce for the next generation of real jobs. I ain't talking about like being a bag boy at the damn grocery store. No.
but you have to make it look. You have to still appease that certain set of the people that would be like, I'm trying to make it like easy. Let's talk about the people that are in the Appalachians and whatnot, like the poorest of the poorest. When they have nothing to look forward to, MD, what are we giving them incentive wise? That's what I mean. Like you gotta think about the broad scape of it here in terms of how this will hit going forward, because I know you want to say, it's because a regular kid, like up and coming kid, is not even doing bag boy shit anymore. They're doing like these video game stuff or being on YouTube and whatnot. That's where they're
they
making
streaming,
money.
man.
They're
Hell,
streaming and doing stuff,
yeah.
and they're making more money than even me and you would have even thought about when we were coming up. Like we didn't even thought about none of that shit when we were coming up. We were thinking about other means of getting money and streams of funds, but they're smart enough now to know, the TikToks and the YouTubes and all of that. That's where they're getting the money from, if they could still make money. Because now I heard, Google's cracking down on that stuff. So I don't know how that works, but that's what I mean. Like, how do we, incentivize giving them something to look forward to? Because when they're taking when Elon's saying, I'm going to take, these jobs are not relevant, the Bezos and the Elon Musk and all of them. What's the point of having entry level jobs when I could just have a computer or a robot do the job for you? I just don't see how, and then this started even from the pandemic, when people were like, we're not to do minimum wage jobs anymore. What's the point of me doing that when I could make money online and be, so-called, what did these models call themselves these days? What's the new word they call themselves now? There's what do you call them?
Dumbasses.
He said dumbasses. No, they're damn man, there's a word that they call themselves, but it will come to me when in the sermon. But these incentivized things that they come up with to call themselves whatever, just so that they can make means. That's the way of like employment for them. But the
What,
regular jobs,
influencers?
influencers. There you go. Yeah, the influencers. That I don't know what that means. I don't know what it curtails.
Nobody knows.
For me, I'd be damned if I follow some idiot that tells me, oh, eating Baskin Robbins ice cream is gonna make me look like Johnny Bravo or some crap. I don't need you to tell me that. That's just dumb. But people get following off of that crap. I don't know why, but that's the thing. So it's weird to like see, but I'm just trying to understand what the incentives is if that's what the tech billionaires are trying to go for. When you eliminate these jobs, I need to know where the youths in terms of what's incentive, because you took away educational stuff. Now you can't declare bankruptcy if you have student loans is not going anywhere because stupid Joe you know Uncle Joe decided that, oh, I'm going to chicken out and not get rid of the student loans thing, so now that's not going nowhere. So I mean, at this point, what's incentivized addition going forward for the younger jits? But then, just like Captain Capitalism just said just now, that's not even an angle. That who cares about that? That's not even important. That's where I'm getting, like, where you have to somehow give like some direction for what the younger voters, and that's what I'm getting at. The people are going to vote later on down in life. What is the incentives of them going forward? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Money. That should be the incentive for every goddamn body. These AI language learners and all this shit making $250,000 a year. What more motivation do you need?
So is there going to be schools for them to go to for them to make
And
more money for AI?
that's what I'm getting at. I think there should be some type of transition point between high school and whatever type of training, college, and university that you need to go to in order to take advantage of what the next generation of the labor force is going to look like. I
But
don't
then,
disagree.
but
I don't
then
disagree with
MD,
that.
but then that means I'm going to take on more debt load to do that. And again,
Hey, it is what it is at this point, man. You taking on more debt load in any facet. You know what I'm saying? But that goes to your point of saying, like, look, we live in the era of fast money with being legal at the same time. Like if I can it's people on YouTube Live right now that got hundreds of views being asleep in the bed on YouTube Live right now. Just all type of crazy shit, tarot card readings, all type of crazy shit.
That's all real.
Sniffing draws, all sort of crap. It makes no sense to me, but this is it.
That's
This is
all
where we're at.
real.
You know what I'm saying? Like me, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna do the type of content that I want to do. I don't give a damn if the algorithm blasts it. I don't care. I do it for myself. I make good money doing what I don't. You know what I'm saying? If all of a sudden 1,000 motherfuckers in the live, hey, cool, that's fine. But I can't see myself intentionally doing crazy shit for clicks and likes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We live in the era where that's the norm right now.
Yep.
That's the norm.
Some people have died doing stuff crazy on the internet.
And in the spirit of the topic, AI is the one that's controlling and pushing it.
Yep.
Because it's the algorithm. So again,
but it knows
tomato. You got to choose like what it is. You know what I'm saying?
It knows your secrets, though. But my problem, it comes right down to privacy, though. How much am I willing to give AI to know that much information about myself? I don't need AI to know what I like to eat or what I like to do in my spare time around 5 p.m. or who I like to talk to or who I like to look up on Instagram. I think there's certain provisions that need to be put in place for them to like be like, all right, the buck stops here. I draw the line at certain things where it doesn't need to know that much information. Yeah, I get it that it's data mining, and data mining is like one of those things where it knows so much about you that it could then put into a whole algorithm of saying, all right, MD likes this, so more likely I'm going to send him this, and this would be something that would either get him to say I agree to it, or don't agree to it. I don't need AI to know every aspect of what it is I do in my daily, routine. That's just a little bit
That's one of the
weird.
reasons I don't fuck with Facebook no more, because Facebook be sending me some crazy shit, man.
Yeah, they be sending
Where
me.
I'm constantly like, they ask you when you hit the 3 dots, it'll say, I'm not interested in this content.
Right.
I'll be like, man, I'm constantly hitting this shit, but yet it's still coming up. You know
Because
what I'm saying? So
it knows your literal algorithm. That's why it's asking you. But then it's unsure. That's the only other side where I'm like, does AI have a conscience? Because at some point in time, it's gonna know maybe MD might like this because and then it might say to itself, okay, well, MD does trucking because I see him in a truck all the time. I'm gonna see if I could picture where he's at specifically in this location. Is he in Alabama? Is he in Kentucky? Where is he at? Like, there's certain things I don't need it to know. There's certain, parameters I expect it to draw, but I don't think it has the self-conscious in its entity as a whole to know where, you draw the line. Like, that's a little bit too invasive where, I'm going to be like, all right, I'm in my drawers. I don't need you to know, I'm at such and such place, in a motel, somewhere. That's none of your business. But then again, it might put up, hey, MD is in Buckhead somewhere, and he's supposed to be in Atlanta, Georgia. That's none of your business, AI. But then, that's where I'm like, and we come to the point where I'm seeing, I was talking to my barber today, where, this idiot administration is now saying we're gonna get rid of the air traffic controllers to now get gamers to now become air traffic controllers. This is where we're at. How does that influence AI? How does that come into play? I don't know, but that's a little bit weird to me that now you're trying to say gamers are now the future of air traffic controlling. You've lost your beloved mind. Because if that's where we're heading to, you might as well just put AI into place and let them police our skies. But are we are we in that space of allowing a computer to dictate where we travel to without somebody doing the guardrails for that? I don't know. That's a little bit weird to me, but this is where we're at. Strange, I know, but this is where we're at. So I question who is policing who, because once we get to that space of Skynet being able to know, like the Will Smith movie, what was the movie with the eagle eye, where it knew everywhere that the damn guy, Shia LaBeouf was running to. That's a bit strange, where it can now dictate where it could, do certain things. And policing is one of those things where we're giving up security since 9/11 to now be here in this space where we're like, okay, but for the sake of security, we're gonna do this. Where do you draw the line? It's a bit weird.
all right, man. So we're gonna get into the rest of these headlines and we're gonna get into the duck. So I want
Hey,
to keep in line.
that
Yeah,
I was just saying that polling would work good with those things that you guys do. Those oh god, what do you call well, you guys debates? Yeah, that would work
Well,
great.
I mean, YouTube got a polling system too, though. But I mean, I
And-
didn't even know that shit existed. What you just did, I'm like, what the hell?
yeah, but it's like live on your screen. I never seen YouTube with no polling system live on your screen. Usually, it's like a post that's like after your live is done.
Yeah,
on
you can do it
YouTube.
on live. But you got to have a certain amount of subscribers and shit like that, which I don't
Oh,
want.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, let's get into. We're gonna keep in line with the AI stuff. Then I got another headline. Then we're gonna get into the duck. So let's get into this. This headline right here. Now this goes to the point talking about prioritization with AI and whatnot. This is a press release that came out from Micron. Micron is the only American memory maker that does memory. You got 3 companies that do memory. You got Micron, you got Samsung, and you got SK Hynix. They make all the memory for everything that goes into anything. Micron came out with a press release. This was around Christmas time. Now, again, I've told the story. I told a story before that I built the PC for my kids for Christmas. Then I turned around the next month and built another one.
Damn,
in the first PC, I used Micron's SSD in the first PC I built. So let's look at this press release. This came out literally right after I had bought from them. This is December 3rd, 2025. It says Micron announces exit from Crucial. Crucial is the name brand of the SSD, Crucial Consumer Business. Boise, Idaho, blah, blah, blah. Micron Technology, Inc., a leader in innovative memory and storage solutions, today announced its decision to exit the Crucial Consumer Business, including the sale of Crucial Consumer branded products at key retailers, e-tailers, and distributors worldwide. So basically what they're saying is, hey, look, we're not making consumer products no more. We specifically making products exclusively for AI. That's it. So, and this is why I say this shit is not capitalism, bro, like at all. Now, all of it is good money. But you say, hey, look, the money is so fucking good when it comes to the AI apparatus, we willing to just ditch consumer altogether.
Oh boy.
Full steam ahead with AI. The hell with these people that want memory sticks and RAM and all that. The hell with them. We making all our shit for AI in the data centers. That's it. So now the only people, now they still got Crucial products out, like in the market, but they're not making no new shit. So now you only got two. You got Samsung and you got SK Hynix. I wanted to bring that up because that goes to what we're talking about here tonight. The prioritization is to our detriment because first you're not allowing other companies to get into the market. That's real capitalism. The government is allowing these monopolies to corner the market, and then those said monopolies and companies that's in bed with government then turn around and say, "The hell with you, kiss my ass." That ain't capitalism.
You're losing on all fronts.
You said it, not me, Venkat. You said it, not me. And the reason I went back to this story because you mentioned something in the group chat, Venkat, about John Fetterman and him doing some type of insider trading with Micron. So again, this goes back to the video we just watched talking about having a circular form of investment and revenue, right? All this shit is inside. This is not real capitalism because you're not letting the money breathe. You know what I'm saying? When I say that to people, that shit go one in and out the other. I'm like, what you just described to me is not capitalism. It's like people can't understand that concept. For whatever reason, you know what I mean? But it's not capitalism. So I thought that was pertinent to bring up real quick because
it's problematic. Is what it is. It's real problematic.
Yeah, it ties directly into what we're talking about. Go ahead, Venkat.
No. I mean that's a great point to bring up, and it's a much needed point to bring up. But that's problematic because capitalism is supposed to right all the wrongs that's happening in the economy. So eventually, it's gonna fix itself. You know, it's gonna catch up. But if you have right, so if you have these players that are pretty much manipulating and changing and diverting things to make capitalism more unnatural and not do what it should do, then what the hell do we have? I mean, everything is stacked against the consumer. So nothing, it doesn't bring competitiveness. It doesn't bring better pricing. It doesn't bring better quality. It doesn't bring better service to the consumer. And it's supposed to, that's what it's supposed to do. Capitalism's supposed to do all those things and some. But I don't know, man.
Now you're getting it, Venkat. I knew you was gonna find the light eventually, my brother. I knew you was gonna find the light eventually. Like I said, it's gonna take small steps. But I'm gonna get you there at some point in time. I'm gonna get you there. I'm gonna get you there at some point. You'll see the light.
That damn music.
That's the ticket. That's the ticket. That's the Venkat that I want to hear. who understands what capitalism is. Now let's get into another headline. Now I want y'all to check this out. This is crazy to me. Now, this is from Tom's Hardware. It says Sony rolls out 30-day online DRM check-in.
Oh, thank you for this story.
For
Thank
PlayStation
you.
digital games. Players could temporarily lose access if they don't keep their consoles online.
Well,
Now,
why do you have to be
up,
online? Why does it have to be online though?
I brought this up specifically for Venkat.
Oh, damn.
I don't have a problem with a digital library. I don't. I've said that in the past here before.
Nope, I have Microsoft, so I know.
This shit, I got a problem with.
Mm-hmm.
This shit, because this ain't having a digital library.
Nope.
If I buy something online, I still bought it. I shouldn't have to have a online presence to play that game. Go ahead.
So no, I was gonna say, is this like how they're trying? Are they trying to do like how Microsoft has the whatchamacallit with the game thing online, or is this just them saying you must be online at all times in order for you to keep your digital library footprint?
Now I'm glad you said that, Ricardo. See, some of the haters of Xbox said that very thing that you just said. Well, y'all got Xbox Game Pass, and if y'all ain't online, y'all can't play that shit. Well, I don't own none of the games, and I knew that from the start.
Right.
That's a subscription service.
Exactly. There's the word subscription service. That's the word.
I didn't buy none of those games on Game Pass. I pay for the subscription every month, and I can play whatever game I want to play.
That's the Netflix of gaming.
Yeah. PlayStation is telling you, hey, look, you pay for this game. $69.99 or however much the hell it costs. If that game that you got to basically check in every 30 days
That's ridiculous.
to play that game.
That's
or else what?
You can't play it. Even though they got your money, you can't play it. That's a crying damn shame.
And the games on disc are liability as well, because only a small portion of the game, if any, is actually on the disc.
Yep, that's facts.
That's right. That's right, because you still got to download.
So games are now essentially being deleted. There are games that are turning into coasters because the access.
Not coasters.
Yeah, it's pretty much turning into coasters because they have no value. You put it in the drive, and because the support is not there anymore by the manufacturer, it won't work, and it needs to have a online, checkpoint or whatever. Yeah. It's not like cartridges, like you just plug it in, play, don't have to worry. Now it's like you buy something and then a matter of, and even like it's not even like unknown games, it's like known AAA titles that people paid $60 for, and within 2 years the game can't be played.
Yeah. Right, I got it highlighted here. It says affected customers report that setting your PS4 or PS5 as your primary console doesn't alleviate this check-in policy either. No matter what, any game you download from now on will feature this requirement, effectively eliminating the concept of offline play, even for single-player titles.
Wow. For shame, PlayStation. For shame. This is what the Japanese are doing to us now.
So are they saying going forward, or like
forward.
let's say last year I bought some digital titles. Does that apply to those games that I bought last year?
Everything going forward.
Okay. This is horrible, by the way. I mean, this is just.
But you know what? It's horrible, Venkat. But we saw it coming, though. We know it was coming down the road, because subscription-wise, I think once Sony realized Xbox Live games was catching on, and everybody just realized it's more convenient. Again, we go for the convenience of stuff here. It's based on the subscription of how much money, and we knew Microsoft was, because Microsoft was way ahead of its time, knew that eventually it was going to rally on, again, AI and augmentation and virtual reality, for them to know that it was going to pick up and make money, and that was incentive. Now Sony realized they've been a little bit on the back burner and thought, hey, people who have the actual hard disk, they're not going to leave us and blah, blah, blah. But then you forgot the convenience. If I don't have to carry all those hard disks in a freaking backpack or a booklet or whatnot, and I can
Yes.
digitally get those virtually, what is the point? If I could pay a subscription every month and keep my access going and access it anywhere in the world at whatever time period and whatnot, I'm good. I'm straight. But I think Sony realized they were losing out, and so this is their hardline kick of like falling behind. This is what it is going forward, and I think it sucks because everything now, if you think about it, has to have some kind of monetary gain to it. You now, if you're being hacked or you were got hit by those digital things that I'm an AT&T customer, so I got hit with my information being sent all over the goddamn web.
Sony's been hacked before several times.
Right. All these companies are being hacked. So now you know what what do you think is going to be happening going forward now with these companies and knowing how smart they are? They're going to realize we can use AI to now you're going to have to pay subscription to clean up all that digital hackness that information that they have of you online, where you can now pay and clean up all that access that people will have for your information privacy wise. You're now going to pay a subscription to clean up all of that information so that no one can have the spamming of your phone number and text messaging and all that of all these random. This is how they make money. They know how to do it. Just like when Microsoft said that what you call that it's not Vista, but what's the new one they have? Think they're 10. Now it's 11, and 10 was going to be free subscription for life. Windows 10. Windows 10 was supposed to be free for everyone for life. Then they realized, hey, we're not making money off of this, so we're just going to do Windows 11 and make everybody pay for it again subscription-wise. It's money. At the end of the day, everything is money. It sucks. As consumers, we're not going to ever win because this is how these companies make money. But I feel for the Sony subscription people because now you have to make a choice. Are you going to stick with Sony for this, or are you going to go to Xbox or Nintendo GameCube? I don't know how they do it.
I already made my decision a few years ago. I'm not buying any next gen nothing, and I ain't doing no PC or none of that crap. I'm sticking my ass back into the older games, and that's it. The games that I can actually
nostalgia
touch.
gamer.
Yeah, and quite frankly, a lot of those games are probably better than what's coming out anyway. So I'm just done with it. I mean, look at PlayStation 5. PlayStation 5, there was no need for PlayStation 5. They have like 5 games that are good. And it's been out for 6 years. So you're barely getting. Before there was always a big game coming out, at least once a month. There's nothing like that happening. The prices are higher. The games aren't any better. Matter of fact, all they're doing is re-releasing the game, the remastered edition or whatever. That's all they're doing. They had PlayStation 5. All their titles are like on PlayStation 4. They just remastered and made them look better, and that's it. That's some bull crap. So to pay $500+ for that?
I remember when PS5 came out. Y'all remember how
it was hard to get. It was hard to get.
I bought it when it came out. I had to go all the way to Greenville, South Carolina, to get that fucking PS5.
Damn, you drove that far? Sheesh,
yeah, because it was for Christmas. It was like a couple hour drive. It was for Christmas or whatever, and I was searching everywhere.
And you stood in the line for it.
I had to stand in line. It was Black Friday. It was after
I hate that crap.
It was after Thanksgiving, and I went to when I tell you I literally went to every GameStop in Georgia, and the line was wrapped around the block.
That's ridiculous.
I finally called the one in Greenville, and they said, hey, you better get here right now, because they had like more for whatever reason than the like some of the stores around Atlanta did. So I went and I stood in that damn line, and I got it. This was like maybe a year and a half ago. My kids broke the damn HDMI in the PS5, and they broke it so bad where it fucked up the circuit board inside. They couldn't fix it. So I said, look, Hell no. I told him I'm not buying shit.
Yeah,
Y'all
don't buy the Pro. Don't buy the Pro.
y'all
because
broke
it's
the
different versions
PS5.
now.
Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't pay no $700 for no PS5. I'll never do that. So I was mad at my kid. I told him I ain't buying nothing else. And it kind of worked out for me because, like I said, now they got PCs, and every game that I would want to play or they would want to play on PlayStation is on PC. So I don't need a PlayStation.
Gotcha.
So I'm perfectly fine with my Xbox. I've been an Xbox gamer for the longest.
Facts.
I think it's the superior product. That's just me.
And I love Xbox too. I'm sorry, but I'm always going to be an Xbox fan. The only problem I have with Microsoft, and I'm mad about it till this very day, is that they got rid of that stupid that what do you call that thing that they had with it literally know your motion when you
you're talking about the Kinect.
The Kinect, yeah. They got rid of the Kinect, which I never understood why they did that, but apparently it was picking up ghosts and apparitions in the background and all sort of crap, and they were like, we can't we can't explain this to people, so we just have to get rid of it. So they got rid of the Kinect. But
yeah, I mean, Xbox is they done had some problems. You know, I ain't gonna say
they had their fair share. They have.
But Game Pass is a game changer. I tell anybody, look,
love
man,
me a Game Pass.
I don't got all day to play. Like, I'm in my truck. I can only play games on the weekend. I can sit down. I can play Game Pass, play whatever the fuck I want.
Yep.
And be contented. And I ain't got to be invested. You know what I'm saying? It's games. Like, I'm a single player guy. I don't play like a lot of multiplayer shit like that. I can play the game for a couple hours and wait till next week and play the game another couple hours. That's what it is. And the fact that they got so many studios now, they got bangers like on day one on Game Pass. So that's just what it is, man. But we'll see what the fallout is with this thing. But this is terrible, man. This is terrible.
Yeah.
So I got. Yeah, go ahead.
No. That's it.
Okay, I'm gonna get it. I was gonna get into the UAE thing. If y'all want to talk about it, we can. But I wanted to bring this up real quick.
Yeah.
This is my local Micro Center store. I just want to give y'all a feel of what AI is doing when it comes to gaming, right? For instance, we could just go to PC parts. If I click on PC parts, and let me put it up on the screen here. This is my local Micro Center. I know a lot of people don't live around Micro Center.
Oh, I love me a Micro Center. Too bad we don't have them here in Florida.
Yeah, it's a few. I know they got a couple in Miami. I'm pretty sure y'all got a few, but they few and far between.
They're very few and far.
Like, we got two here in the Atlanta area. Like, it's one like literally 10 minutes away from my house, and then we got another one in Marietta. But I just want to give you a view of what AI is doing. So let's go to RAM, right? If I click on RAM and get just some overall price, this is basic run-of-the-mill RAM. Crucial, 64 gigs of RAM, 2 sticks, 32 gig, $450 basically. That is atrocious. Atrocious. And all this shit is G skill, right? If we go to some of the higher up shit, the Patriot Viper 64 with 2 sticks, that shit is damn near $700 for 2 sticks of RAM. I mean, like, but again, because all the memory is being prioritized to AI, that means less supply for the consumer, which still has the same amount of demand.
Right. And you have less manufacturers making it.
Yeah, now you ain't got Micron no more. They gone.
Yeah.
So again, and a lot of these people like G Skill, Patriot, Corsair, that what I got in the PC at home, these are third-party manufacturers.
Damn.
They still get it from the same 3 people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now we've seen a slight drop in the prices, but it's still atrocious. When I bought the RAM for the PC, that shit was like $120. And that was 32 gig. Like, this shit is 16 gig, 2/8 for $160. That's ridiculous. Patriot Viper 64 gig, $599, $600. $600 for RAM. That's ridiculous. Now let's go to SSDs.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find there go SSDs right here. Ridiculous prices. A 2 terabyte SSD for $300. I paid $89 for that Crucial SSD in my PC right now. $89. And now it's $300. This is insane. Insane. And you see they only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They only got 8 sticks of RAM. Yeah, eight options. That's crazy. So that's what we're dealing with right now with the AI situation. I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was pertinent to the topic.
That's
go
crazy
ahead.
for real.
Yeah, hey man, that's what we're living in right now. That's what we're living in.
So we living in a place and a time where we are not allowed to own anything. We can't. We the digital movies, games, even the books. We're not allowed to own anything. We're on subscription services. Even when we buy it, they snatch it from us in the dark of night. I'm still pissed at Amazon for screwing me over with they switched out my movie. I got a zombie movie called Horde, and they switched the damn movie out. I guess they lost the rights to that movie, and they gave me another movie called The Horde, and it was a completely different movie. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the right cover. That's not the right movie. I called them on customer service. They're like, well, we lost the rights to it. Then why did you give me this other one? And then like, why if I bought the movie and you snatched it from me after I bought it a year later, you should give me back my money. Well, that's not the way we do it. Oh, let me talk to my supervisor. And then they credited me back. But why should I have to go through all that? And that's not the norm, because normally they wouldn't do that. So as consumers, we're losing less and less rights. And it's to the point where you just can't buy nothing, man. You got to put these bastards on a diet. Yeah, you gotta put them on an economic fast hard, man. We gotta stop buying stuff. I know I gotta start buying that. And the companies that don't value your business and your money, why are we fighting hard to give them the money? Nintendo is notorious for screwing over their customers and whatnot. So they just don't want. I don't know. They need to go out of business, and we got to stop fighting. Like, look at WrestleMania. That was atrocious, and they disrespected that fan base. But yet, people are still buying tickets and still going, even though it's a drop off. Why are we even supporting it? Everybody's complaining about it, but you still do it.
I'll say this. As you look up on the screen, I brought that up because you talked about a subscription service. I don't have an issue per se with subscriptions when it's practical. Sometimes the shit not practical, and I bring up NZXT. Yeah. Don't you know you can rent essentially a PC for $144 a month? You can rent a pre-built PC. You can't own it. Ain't no option to own it. You can rent it though. Like this shit is crazy. You shouldn't have to do stuff like that. Is all I'm saying. Like that's crazy. I understand it when it's practical, but hey man, that's the times we living in, bro. Anybody got anything else on AI or anything we talked about?
No.
No, it pretty much sums it up for itself. It's like self-explanatory.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
Oh boy.
You know what time it is.
Oh god.
We've come to that hour, the witching hour.
Oh boy.
Now, if I told y'all a couple of weeks ago we'll have a double duck. It's so many ducks, man. I gotta spread them out to be like just to keep them relevant. You know what I'm saying? So I decided just to go with the one duck this week. I could have easily did 3, to be honest with you. I could have went with a triple duck, but I said no. You know what? I'm gonna just use the one. so we can have a healthy serving and not be gluttonous. You know what I mean? You don't want to be gluttonous. So I said, you know what? We'll just go with the one duck, and the one duck should be obvious. And no, it shouldn't be obvious because again, it's so many obvious ducks. So I mean, I just picked one out the hat pretty much, and this is where we at. So without further ado, this week's lame duck. For whom the bell tolls. Let's go.
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
Now the story led by him to CNN is Perry Manuel. Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson.
We finally beat Medicaid.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
He's right, he did beat Medicaid, beat it to death.
Duck went like a dove. Feathers fly in the air. Water laying here, water laying. Y'all's a duck, yeah, he was a duck. Duck look like a dove.
Yeah, and you know what? This is a conclusion I've come to, and I've only been in Congress 5 years, but it's long enough for me to realize not everybody is playing for Team America, and it was really hard for me to understand that because I'm a military guy. I've worked with all different types of people, but we always had the same goal in mind: a strong United States. And what I've learned up here is there are people not on our team. They're just not. And they have no business being in Congress. They have no business basically representing the American people. There's a lot of those folks. And so I think what is happening is they're being exposed. Is you're going, wait a second, how do you defend the actions of somebody that goes out and murders National Guardsmen? How do you defend the actions of an illegal alien that killed an American citizen? These are indefensible things, or the fentanyl that has been pouring into our country. President Trump was successfully elected because he was very firm and said, hey, look, I'm going to stop the poisoning of our children. That's what he's doing. So I've just come to learn that there are some people within our government that aren't for our government. And those are the ones that they need to be replaced, and they need to be held accountable.
As calls for Representative Tony Gonzalez's resignation continue to build, we wanted to explain how we got here. Now, this all started in November of 2021 when Santos Aviles was hired to work in Gonzalez's office in Uvalde. Now, on your screen, you're going to see text from May 2024. The attorney for Santos Aviles' husband, Adrian Aviles, says it confirms a relationship between the two. Less than a month later, Adrian Aviles sends this text to Gonzalez and other staffers, alerting him he had discovered the affair. Santos Aviles and her husband eventually separate, and in September of 2025, we were the first to tell you about Santos Aviles' death after she set herself on fire at her Uvalde home. Reports of an alleged affair between Gonzalez and Santos Aviles start to surface, and in November, I was the first to confront Gonzalez about these allegations.
We've been trying to reach out to you multiple times to ask. Multiple media outlets have reported that you had an affair with Santos Aviles. Is there any response you have to that?
We're here at Fort Sam. We're here at Fort Sam Unit at the ceremony. Please have some respect. Thank
I understand, but veterans fought for my right to ask you questions.
Adrian Aviles' attorney tells me it was around this time that the House Ethics Committee opens an investigation into Gonzalez. However, a spokesperson for the committee declined to comment on it. Then last week, that's when things started moving pretty quickly. Aviles' attorney told me last Wednesday his client believes the alleged affair played a role in Santos Aviles' death. The next day, Gonzalez posted on X saying that he won't be blackmailed, and on Sunday called it a political attack. Now, this week, Aviles sent us the text messages from 2024, and the Uvalde Police Department released the report surrounding the call made to Santos Aviles' home the night she set herself on fire. That report had previously been sealed at Aviles' and the city's request. And as that was happening, members of Gonzalez's own political party started calling for his resignation, a call that Gonzalez disagrees with.
Those text messages, are they accurate? Are those real text messages?
I'm not going to resign. I work every day for the people of Texas.
Did you carry it?
And There will be an opportunity for all the details and facts to come out. What you've seen is not all the facts.
Did you have an extramarital affair with a staff?
What you've seen is not all the facts, and there'll be an ample time for all of that to come out.
Over the last few months, I've done 18 stories on the fallout from Santos Aviles' death. And right now on KSAT.com, you can read those stories and find a full timeline laying out everything we've learned. I'm KSAT Investigates reporter Daniela Ibarra.
Breaking news, Speaker Mike Johnson and House Republican leadership are now calling on Texas Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez to withdraw from his upcoming primary runoff after the three-term Republican admitted for the first time he did have an affair with a staff member who later died by suicide.
I made a mistake, and I had a lapse in judgment, and there was a lack of faith. And I take full responsibility for those actions. I look forward to the ethics committee starting an investigation. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to provide all the facts and all the details that lead to exactly what occurred in the entire situation.
Gonzalez, however, has maintained that he has no plans to step aside. Joining us now, MS Now Capitol Hill reporter Kevin Fry. What more can you tell us, Kevin?
Yeah, Chris, I mean, this is a movement for Speaker Mike Johnson from just a day ago when he was pressed on the Gonzalez situation. He declined to call on him to resign, saying that the process needs to play out. And we should note that what we're seeing House leadership here do is not going so far as a resignation. They're not calling on him to leave Congress. They just want him to bow out of that primary runoff, which is scheduled for May. The statement from those leaders reading in part, we have encouraged him to address these very serious allegations directly with his constituents and his colleagues. In the meantime, leadership has asked Congressman Gonzalez to withdraw from his race for re-election. Now, on that resignation versus not resignation piece, there, of course, have been some rank and file Republicans, members of his own party, who have called on him to go in the lead up to this news from today. That includes Congresswoman Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert. There was also a push just yesterday by Mace to try to force the Ethics Committee to release documents and investigations they have on lawmakers who might have had sexually inappropriate relations with their own staffers. Sexual harassment claims, for example, that ultimately was deferred on a bipartisan basis, sent back to committee. Essentially, it's dead for the time being. But one piece on this resignation versus step out of the race bit is the numbers on Capitol Hill. The House right now is an incredibly closely divided body. Basically, Republicans can only ever afford to lose one vote on any party line vote. That means if Gonzalez were gone, the margins get even tighter and life becomes even more complicated for GOP leadership. But again, the most notable thing here is that this is a move from House leadership, at least trying to get Gonzalez to get out of this race. Chris?
Kevin Fry, thank you.
Scandal-plagued Tony Gonzalez is in his last few hours as a U.S. congressman. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm Ernie Zuniga.
And I'm Myra Arthur. This afternoon, Gonzalez submitted his resignation letter to Governor Greg Abbott, effective at 11 p.m. tonight, San Antonio time. Gonzalez spent months under pressure to step down after his affair with a staffer was made public.
KSAT Investigates' Daniela Ibarra has been covering the fallout since the very beginning and explains what this now means for people living in his district.
I am not going to resign. I work every day. I work every day for the people of Texas.
2 months after fighting calls for his resignation, U.S. Representative Tony Gonzalez did just that.
It has been my privilege to serve the residents of Texas's 23rd Congressional District. Signed sincerely, Tony Gonzalez, Member of Congress.
His departure from Congress comes after months of avoiding our questions about his affair with staffer Regina Santos Aviles. The attorney representing her widower believes the affair played a role in her suicide last September.
Where's Santos Aviles? Is there any response you have to that?
The congressman confessed to the affair last month.
I've asked God to forgive me, which he has.
But said then he planned to serve out his term in Congress. Gonzalez changed his tune on Monday, announcing his retirement.
It'd be much more beneficial to just quietly resign. You can use the semantics of retirement, but you're resigning, and he has to resign.
UTSA professor John Taylor says since Gonzalez served 5.5 years, he will eventually get his pension. How does this impact his constituents?
Without a member of Congress, if there are disaster issues in place, say, for example, flash floods or wildfires in which we need federal aid, while the state of Texas can help, the member of Congress for that district where the disaster is taking place is critically important. And without the member, it makes it more difficult to get federal aid.
Gonzalez's departure also means losing representation on high-profile committees. As for who temporarily fills his spot, that's up to Governor Greg Abbott.
He could hold off and not call the special election until the same day as our general election in November.
So theoretically, if this special election were to happen in November, they could see Brandon Herrera and Katie Betty twice
on the ballot. Absolutely.
Wild.
It is, but welcome to Texas politics.
We all kind of did a double take when that came up earlier today about seeing both of them on the ballot twice. So Danielle obviously is here to talk a little bit more about this. What all have we heard from the governor about the possibility of that special election and the two candidates again appearing on the ballot?
Yeah, so we've reached out to the governor's office twice. We have not heard back from him. One of the things that John Taylor was telling us is that he has a 36-day window to wait before announcing that special election. So it could be as soon as next month, but he says that's not likely because of politics, essentially. And I did reach out to Democratic nominee Katie Betty Stout and Republican candidate Brandon Herrera, and both of them told me that they also plan to run to represent the district when that special election takes place. So they theoretically could be on the ballot 2 times.
Okay. If that happens, that will be some confusion we need to help explain for people going forward.
And we'll have you come back and lay it all out for us. Danielle, thank you.
There he is. There you have it. Lame duck number 15. Representative Tony Gonzalez of Texas. Van what you got, man?
Well, this guy, he said he wasn't gonna leave. He said he wasn't gonna quit. Then 2 months later he quit. But it's funny how right now Gonzalez, if you got the last name Gonzalez, you got problems. We got Ashley Gonzalez, that police officer, I believe in Texas, that was found to be using the N-word and just going after all kinds of black people. Yeah,
maybe a future duck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But Gonzalez is not having a good time right now. If you got that name, you're struggling. But yeah, this guy is a complete dumbass. This is a well-deserved duck. A trash bag human of the weakest kind. Yeah, I mean, Texas in itself, they up for a lot of hurt come this November. And, you know, people in Texas got to ask themselves, with Republican controlling the state of Texas for almost 30 years or so, what have they gotten besides Ted Cruz going on a friggin' a vacation when the damn power went out? So yeah, Republicans are failing badly, and this guy Tony Gonzalez exemplifies the failures of the Republican Party in a major way. Yeah, lame duck for sure. That's what I got.
All right, Ricardo, man, what you say about Tony Gonzalez?
Man, I wish I could say more. But yeah, well deserved. I this man did a whole heap a lot, and in the end, he's to that to leave. There's no way they're going to keep you in with that much tainted, bad pedigree on you, Gonzalez. But I digress. I think it's one of those things where absolute power corrupts absolutely, and I think he thought it through, but didn't think it through correctly.
Why am I big on the screen? Oh, okay.
And then it didn't help that the alleged affair. I don't know if you can say alleged anymore. And then she committed suicide. Amplified even more. So the GOP was not going to save her, but not the party of family values and all things obsessed wise with working family and all that crap. They not.
Well, you said God forgave him.
It's one of those things where his faith came through, MD. So you gotta put that up there. You gotta say it and make it be known that he had his redemption can come through. I even I can't believe my own lies anymore. But no, well deserved.
And that was a little pretty Latina too, man.
Yes, she was.
I don't
She's
be
stunning.
understanding what, bro. I'm telling you, Vancat right, bro. Texas might be cooked. They might be cooked, bro. Because again, I try to tell black people, man, look, Texas might not be the move, bro. It just might not be. That like these Hispanics in Texas, man, they out of sorts.
They have an identity crisis.
That's what it is. Exactly.
That's what it is.
On both sides.
Yep. Identity crisis. And they need to figure it out now, because we can't go into November and have them trick us like how they did the last time with how they did what's the name? Cochran? What's the girl that was
Jasmine Crockett?
Jasmine Crockett, how they did her so dirty. We are all here thinking they're gonna go in droves and they're gonna support and nope. They did a full 180 and was like, oh fuck no, we're not gonna support her. She came off as racist to us, and I was like, okay. So now we know what we're going to face going into November. So I don't believe polls. None of them matters, and even that whole situation with the guy that ended up usurping Crockett, I have not heard a damn thing about him since. So I would love to.
You just hit the nail on the head, Ricardo. Where the hell is he at?
Nobody knows what's going on.
I ain't heard nothing about that race since the primary.
Yep. Nobody
ain't
knows
seen this guy.
Again, this is just typical Democratic behavior, and they never fail to amaze me in the end with every single time. So let's see how that works out for them. But again, this whole identity crisis with Texas and the Hispanics that are not sure if they're white, but not quite sure they're Hispanic, and that one police officer or whatever she want to call herself that was like, I don't fuck with niggas. I don't do. Oh no, I'm gonna come in and apologize. I had no idea what I was saying. I may be drunk. I'm not. Please give me a break. Y'all need to get it together. It's really, really, really kind of absurd just hearing what Texas stands for now. But I digress. The same thing happens here in Florida, Vancat, as you know. So nothing surprises me anymore. But yeah, this is a damn shame. She was a stunning girl.
I keep telling you, Ricardo, nigga shit is as American as apple pie. In that video, she was purely acting like a nigga.
Exactly.
While disparaging niggas. I told y'all how it works.
Ain't that something?
I told y'all how this game go.
But no, this whole she had to humble herself quick though after the retaliation of the court of public opinion. You guys talk so bad about black people, but in the end, when you have to humble yourself, because again, the white folks ain't gonna take you in their corner. This is what happens. You still lose in the end because you still need us. No matter how much you try to throw us underneath the bridge and act like y'all, nope. You still need black folks around y'all. So continue that nonsense. See how well it goes for you.
Yeah, they just seal clapping for Republicans and white men. All up in that white supremacy ass. I don't get it. The return on investment is so little, if anything. What have you gotten as a result of sticking your tongue up the ass? It doesn't make sense to me at all. You got be a man, be your own person. Stand on your own 2 feet instead of looking for crumbs from the white man. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane. And simultaneously, they're beating down Spanish-speaking people all across the board. Whether you're Mexican, whether you're Cuban, you're being deported, you're being beat up by ICE, you're being embarrassed. And what do you got to show for it? A bunch of stupid-ass words that have no real meaning. The party of family values, that's like such a lame thing to say at any length. They're literally breaking up families. Trump relished the fact that he put little kids and babies in cages in the first administration. I mean, this is not a new thing. So this all, what Mike would say, miss me with that. It's crazy, man. Like, we're still dealing with this. But this is why Kamala Harris didn't win. It's out in the open. If I had the power to change the outcome of the election in 2024, I would not do it. because we need to see these moments in time. This needs to be on full blast. We need the documentary. We need this to be logged into the history books as far as what happened. So now there's no confusion. There's no mishap. Because in the 90s, the Latino Black coalition seemed strong as hell. You got rappers and whatnot all hooked up. You got all this dancing going on. Everything seems cool. But it was never really cool. There's always been this racial undertone. This darker Cubans are treated less than, and lighter Cubans. You see that all across. Mexicans with Puerto Ricans. This is not a new thing, not a new phenomenon. I remember my wife is a Puerto Rican. I walked into a Spanish restaurant, and it's like the music was playing, and when I walked in, the record just stopped. And I'm like, what the fuck? It felt just like that. I'll never forget that day. I'll never forget that day. I mean, it's not a new thing.
What is this nigga doing up in here? Is he lost?
It is not a new thing. It's not a new thing at all. So I'm just happy that it's out in the open and it's on Front Street, because this needs to be known. Latinos, Spanish speaking people in general, they have a bias. They have a hatred for darker skinned people, and they love to suck on the tit of white supremacy.
Well, there you have it, folks. Well, for you jet setters or whatnot, if y'all need to get your passports reprinted or anything like that, man, you're gonna get your commemorative America 250 Trump face passport. And I don't know why I should have had a picture ready for that. I don't know why I didn't, but
it's a real thing.
Yeah, it's real. It's real.
Lord,
hey man,
have
listen,
mercy.
now I got to get it. I can't leave the show without showing it.
I saw a thing where they said that Trump gold card, where you get citizenship, you got to pay like $1 million for that Trump gold card. Only one gold card has been redeemed.
Exactly, the grifting of all grifters.
It's crazy.
Well, I'll be damned. Yeah, it's a real thing. Let me show the before we get up out of here, because you think it's a joke. I got to show it ain't a joke. Oh.
And by the way, the 250 celebration is what, this 4th of July? I thought it was next year.
Yeah, it's for.
Oh Lord.
Are you going to the UFC fight? Let me change this up here and wrap down the boom. Yeah, my hair. Well, yeah, there you go, right there, folks.
Lord have mercy.
And when you go into the international airport in other countries and you pull out your passport, you got something to be proud of.
Oh hell no!
You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump's face to be.
You might get shot at with that passport.
The limited edition U.S. passport.
Yeah, Donald Trump's face to be featured on limited edition U.S. passport.
That's
what an effort it is to try to legitimize an illegitimate person. We're naming streets, airports, buildings. We're doing passport. We're doing everything as if this guy was like Gandhi or something. He has done nothing. He's the worst ranked president in all of the presidents in the history of this country. And I don't know, man. Propaganda is more important.
He's going to be erased. He knows it, but, we'll see what happens. Especially this presidential library they're building in Miami. We'll see how that goes. It's stolen land, by the way. So,
well, there you go. Well, that's tonight's show, folks. That's tonight's show. Good show. I got to see what the concept gonna be. Well, actually, I do know what the concept gonna be. It's time for me and Van Cat to spar.
Oh boy.
We're gonna do what I've been saying we're gonna do, and I guess this will be the show to do it. It's done died down somewhat, but the conversation is still there. We finally gonna deal with this Hassan Piker issue and this whole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this whole lefty loony takeover and all that.
Lefty loony takeover.
That's the hate talking. That ain't the real MD talking. That's just the hate talk.
we're gonna deal with that. So that'll be the main focal point in next week's show. I'll come up with the concept or whatever, and then we'll duke it out. We'll duke it out. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna let y'all get y'all outros, man, and we up out of there. He put the I don't know why you trolling Mike like that. Why? Yeah, y'all go get your outros, man, so we go get the fuck up out of here.
Oh, well, another great show. Another great show. Looking forward to next week. And I think that's it. I don't really have anything major. The world's on fire. And we got to wait to see what next crazy thing is going to happen. So we'll see you next week.
Yeah. We're definitely going to see what's going to happen next. Go ahead, Ricardo.
Yeah, great show. I don't know what's in the pipelines for the week because God, everything is changing. Iran still has not budged yet, so the Strait of Hormuz is still left up in the air. This friggin' man is gonna make the summer even more expensive, seeing that we're going through World Cup and I don't even know what kind of is this bicentennial now. I don't even know what celebration is the 250 for the 4th of July. There's so much happening that every single time this man comes and speaks, the stock market either moves up or it goes down. So in lighter news, UAE left OPEC, so I don't know what that means in the grand scheme of things.
We were gonna talk about that, but I ain't have time. But
Yeah, we don't have time, but that's a topic of conversation going forward because if UAE leaves OPEC, I don't know what that leaves the cartel going forward.
It ain't if it's happening. It's happening Friday. Friday is the first day.
They said they're out, and they gave a date of Friday. They didn't even say 6 months from now or the end of December. They said Friday they're out. So, I don't know what that means in terms of the oil price going up and down. I don't know if this is a great pull from Trump's side. I don't know if him and, the Saudi crown prince and the rest of them are in cahoots. I don't know what's going on in this world anymore. But, everything is just moving in real time, real quick, real fast, and we can't keep pace. And this is a distraction, and Epstein file hasn't been released yet. And I don't even know. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But keep abreast.
Damn re-indicted Comey for no damn reason.
Which we all know is going to get thrown out by SCOTUS again. So this is just another pointless crap. So it's distractions beyond distraction. And we still haven't released the goddamn file. And this man said there was not going to be wars. And here we are. And MAGA still defends this damn loser because they're in too deep and can't admit guilt. So expect gas price to be, hovering up and down, and also pay attention to stuff like latex gloves and all that stuff is going to be going up because it's again a byproduct of oil. So you think latex gloves is cheap now and until the summertime when it gets expensive. It ain't going to be fun. Not cheap. But I digress.
Some latex gloves, folks.
You don't know what I do in my spare time. You don't know what I do in my spare time. Anywho, but yeah, I just, I look forward to the next show. I don't know what the next topic is going to be. MD said it's going to be a spar between him and Van Cat, so we'll see what happens. But stay tuned. We'll see what goes down the pipeline. But yeah, mind your business, MD. I have things to do.
Yeah, let me shut the hell up. I don't even
with my latex gloves and oil and everything else that I got. Never mind.
I don't even want to know.
Oh boy.
Yeah, man, that's the show, man. We gonna go get up out of here. I'll leave by saying this just to tie it into the whole show. Today they had a appropriations committee with Pete Hegseth. He was trying to justify wanting $1.5 trillion.
Lord have mercy.
In the defense budget, and I'm gonna tie it in. Like I said, all speculation, but I'm gonna tie it in by saying this. We just saw in the video talking about the AI bubble that more than likely is not going to be able to sustain itself with the inner workings of how big tech work. It just ain't enough money to go around. We all know that these AI companies vie for these government contracts, so on and so forth. It is to my belief that the only way that they can get the amount of money to sustain themselves is through government.
Yep.
And that mainly means government contracts in the form of defense contracts.
Yep. Bing, ding, 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 ding.
So I would put two and two together and say the reason that Pete Hegseth and Department of Defense
War
is asking for this astronomical amount of money is to pay AI. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Can't argue with that point.
So with that being said, man, peace to everybody that's watching. Peace to everybody that's gonna watch later. We'll see y'all next week, I guess. TFP Tape Politics. We out.
Yes,
Peace.